Oh, you'll be delighted and somewhat surprised to know that you can now own Who's Views merchandise. Yes, a range of mugs, t-shirts, hats, sweatshirts, cuddly toys, a cheer please, and other goodies, all putting official Doctor Who merchandise to shame. It's now available from the Who's Views shop. You can find it on the store tab on the channel or by scanning that squiggly thing there. And now on Who's Views, it's your lucky day. Review, that is. These episode titles are a gift.
For the fourth week running, Doctor Who gets the lowest rated episode in its history. 1.5 million tune in overnight to watch Lucky Day. And as I said at Live and 6, cue all the jokes. Lucky day for this, lucky day for that, not lucky day, not lucky. Hello, Who viewers. It's good to see you. As you can see, I'm joined by Paul, Third Doctor Ian, Kirsten, and Jodie are all with me this evening. Hello, team. Hello, gang. How are we doing?
Not too bad, not too bad. How you doing?
Well,
been ages since I saw you last.
No, I have to say, everybody, 1.5 million. I'm sensing a theme here. It's sad days, isn't it? It really is sad days for Doctor Who.
Very sad.
But predictable, isn't it?
I want to give them a slow hand clap, to be honest. You know.
Good to see you all. Thanks for joining us all in the chat. Lots of you in the chat already. Keep coming in. If you are watching us right now and not in the chat, come on in. They're a great bunch. Let us know what your view is, because I do know some people quite liked it, which is fine. Some people didn't quite like it. I'm sort of in the middle. Meh. But I'll tell you something. Look at this headline from today in one of our favorite papers here on Who's Views, from the one and only the Metro. BBC viewers comparing new Doctor Who episode to the worst ever, says Milo Pope. Yeah, I mean, it's when you get headlines like this from something like the Metro that you know that the show really isn't firing on all cylinders. It's just awful, isn't it?
It is, really. But you know what? It's not telling us anything we don't know, is it?
No.
Really?
I know. I just think it's so sad days. And when you're getting that sort of stuff, I think, oh, what is happening? What is happening? Good to see you all in the chat. Let's see you here. Look at this. Java Bean Studio say, oh, hooray, Jodie's back. That's nice, isn't it, Jodie?
Thank you.
We also have to say congratulations, of course, to that one down there, because, yeah, Lady of the Chat is now married Lady of the Chat. Go on, show the jewelry.
Congratulations.
Hang on a minute. Hang on. Let's go. There we are. Look at that.
Oh.
Congratulations.
You're going to have to change the sweatshirts and get some with my Lady of the Chat on them now.
Noel Thrussell is with us saying, I nearly lost my will to live watching Lucky Day. Oh, bless you. Well, I'm glad you're with us now. And Golden Age Geek is with us saying, Lucky Day is by far the worst episode of Doctor Who. And we've got a lot to choose from, Golden Age Geek. Let's face it, in the last 2 years.
We have, yeah.
And, of course, the stuff that came before it. And the worst episode of television I've ever seen. 45 minutes of calling out and misrepresenting the critics of this nonsense. But Paul Schlefter is saying, I quite enjoyed it. I thought it was a good episode for Millie Gibson and Gemma Redgrave. Yeah? Okay.
I have to say, I can't believe Gemma Redgrave is from the same Redgrave family as Vanessa and Michael Redgrave. I'm really sorry.
Oh,
he's like a plank of wood, I'm telling you, honestly. Yeah.
Oh, that's going to be coming out in the show then, isn't it? Hold on a minute.
After the imaginary handbag, I don't have one.
Not one that you're prepared to show anyway.
Yeah.
I hate RTD2, says Woodhouse 122, but the ratings are sad to see. I think as Doctor Who fans, they are sad to see, aren't they? Who'd have thought a few years ago we would get to this? And we've got Stephen Braddock back with us. I really didn't like it at all, especially on a second watch. It was terrible. Jess, hello, Jess. Hi, JT and co. Kirsty, whoever, wherever you are, hope you are all safe. Well, thank you for that, Jess. It's lovely to see you. Yeah, gosh. Raymond is saying to us, Redgrave hasn't been good since Capaldi. I forgot she was in with Capaldi, but of course she was. Of course she was. It's a long time since I've, you know, seen those episodes. And yes, the Nate channel is with us, and we did say to you on Friday to come back. Thank you. Happy birthday, the Nate channel. Here we go. It is good to see you, lovely. Hope you're having a lovely day and that you've got some lovely presents. If you've got anything with Shooty Gatwa on, like those new birthday cards I've seen in Tesco, sorry about that. Sorry about that. But yeah, we go. But happy birthday to you. I hope that you're going to stay with us through the show and enjoy the show with us. Good on you, mate. And we've got John Keeley. Thank you so much for your super chat. Good evening, gentlemen and ladies. I hope you're all 1.5 well. Bloody hell. I just couldn't believe that yesterday's episode was just so damned preachy. I'm sure we're all going to have something to say about that terrible speech that he was given, because it was just, it didn't land for me at all. I just, oh my God. Before we go anywhere now, actually, everybody as well, let's get into the result of the ratings game last week, seeing as we're on that sort of subject now. Let's have a look. Paul went higher with 1.7. Ian went lower with 1.44. Emilio went lower with 1.4. Miles went lower with 1.78. And I went lower with 1.3. So unfortunately, yet again, nobody wins. Isn't that a shame? Nobody wins anything. But what are you going to say, Paul?
I was going to say, I thought it would have been better because last week was actually okay. You know what I mean?
He's justifying the score of 1.7 again.
Yeah, that's why I said that. Yeah.
He's just justifying it. It's just justifying it. But no, none of you won, which is a great shame. But let's have a look to see what you could have won. Yes, you could have won these lovely electric heated curlers.
Well, that's what I lost, JT. That's all I'm saying.
And you could have won with it a lovely, lovely, lovely instructions for 6 gorgeous and very trendy Star Wars style hairdos, as you can see there. There you go. That's what you could have won. I know you're all gutted by that, everybody, aren't you? I can tell.
They've been marketed as sex toys these days, haven't they?
Does it come with hair as well? You can do your own hair.
Just for you, but you haven't won
for
it.
Me.
So
thank you, great, lovely.
You've got to move on because you haven't won that. But there you go, everybody. Now, before we also get into what this lot think, Emilio can't be with us tonight because he's got a life. However, he will be watching later on. So, Emilio, I hope you've had a lovely evening ce soir. That's French, everybody. But he has given me a review. He has given me a review and his score on the TARDIS door. Remind me to give you a score on the TARDIS door later on. But the review is a good point for us to chat with. Here is Emilio's review. It's a big one here. Oh, madam.
Oh, yeah.
Millie Gibson once again proves she's in a different league than the show's current lead. It really is her lucky day, not stuck as the full-time companion for this train wreck of a series. The episode is a total mess. Ruby goes on a podcast to talk about the Doctor. Seriously? Conrad somehow makes perfect alien costumes. Oh, come on. Ruby suddenly develops PTSD with no setup, despite seeming completely fine at home. Lazy, inconsistent, and emotionally hollow. He's going for it here, Emilio. Kate Lethbridge-Stewart is still a bland legacy character, only there to name drop her dad. Unit is packed with annoying characters that nobody cares about. And once again, the villain is a one-note evil white guy to highlight toxic masculinity, the second time this season. Doctor Who used to be about fighting monsters, certainly not this crap. Then the so-called Doctor finally shows up just to deliver a smug, moralizing lecture, complete with spoilers about how the villain dies. 11 even do that to the leader of those nasty people in the war. I don't know if I can say the H words, but there you go. But sure, more messaging over the actual storytelling. 1 point for the slick production and 1 point for Millie Gibson's performance, however. But this episode was infuriating, forgettable trash. Right then, everybody. So that's Emilio having his say there.
That's a good start.
So, what do you think? What do you guys think? Let's get into that. Let's address Emilio's point as well. Does anybody agree with him, or does anyone want to not agree? All views welcome, of course, here on Who's Views.
He's made a lot of good points. I mean, it is some of that costume making stuff, like something at Scooby-Doo, isn't it? Let's be honest.
I got that. Why is it that Scooby-Doo came to my mind immediately when the mask came off, and I was expecting somebody to go because of you
Mr.
miserable
Beasley,
kid.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
Don't diss Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo is phenomenal.
I
It's
wouldn't.
not only the 60s version, Jodie. None of the later crap, just the 60s one.
Yeah.
Oh,
Not-
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Not too much into the Scrappy Doo era.
Scrappy should be shot.
No, Scrappy Doo killed it, honestly. Don't tell you. Yeah. Can we do a Scooby-Doo review of the 60s Scooby-Doo? That'd be great. Yeah.
As long as it doesn't include Scrappy and the later Yabba-Doo as well.
Oh. Remember Scooby-Dum and Scooby-Dee? Remember them?
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah. That was his cousins. Remember them? Yeah.
I just adore Scooby-Doo. I mean, I just love Scooby-Doo. So, yeah, Scrappy was, like, evil.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to Lucky Day on Doctor Who.
Well, it wasn't the worst, Justin.
No, well, listen, we've got Sean Mayer Trolley Boy joining us. Hello, Sean Mayer. It's nice to see you. Welcome to Who's Views. Good that people are allowed to be honest here. Yeah, everybody's honest here. And you've got your view. That's why it's called Who's Views. So come and tell us what you thought. Go on, Jode, what were you going to say there?
Well, it wasn't the worst. I mean, it's never going to be a classic, let's be frank. But, it wasn't like Space Babies. So,
She mentioned it.
Yeah, it's better than Space Babies. I'll give you that.
I think everything's been better than Space Babies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that, but I'm trying to give it something because it wasn't like the worst thing I've ever watched, And Richard thought it was really good because he wasn't in it,
Now that Richard is Jodie's husband. And he's just said,
and then he said, "Don't say that in Who's Views because he might be watching it."
do you know though, it comes to look, Daz Blue's with us. Hello, Daz Blue. It's good to see you. Lots of you in the chat. Come on in. I like Gemma Redgrave, but not as Kate and not in Doctor Who. Her and the way Unit are portrayed are just so unbelievable. You're right.
Well, it was. What about that bit where they cut to Unit and she's going to hold hands with the Colonel? How cheesy was that? Honestly.
This is where I think. Let's face it. Last night's show was a pilot, Kirsty, for this Unit thing that's coming up with the alleged Sea Devils.
Yeah.
You could see it last night when he gives her the cup of tea. I was like, "Oh, get on it, girl." I can see a little bit of tension in there. I was like,
"It's not the first cup of tea he's made for her, is it?" You know what I mean?
Yeah. She's common as muck, isn't she? Oh, get on it. Common as muck. She's from Edinburgh as well. Oh. 1.5, dear God, says Marjorie. I was going for 1.9 because of Millie Gibson. That's the other thing. Yeah, that Millie stand out again. She was my favorite thing I think about last year. I was so glad to see her back. And solid acting from Millie. She was brilliant. She doesn't need Shooty Gatwa. Maybe that's why she isn't in the full series. I don't know.
It's a weird dynamic, isn't it? You introduce a new character in episode 1, and by episode 4 she's gone to be replaced by last season's companion. That's an odd structure for 8 episodes, isn't it, really?
It just shows you, in my opinion, Who's Viewers, why they should have kept her in this series. Because I think if they kept her in a second series and developed her, I think we've been robbed again, to be honest, for whatever reason. What do you think?
It's definitely Martha all over again, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah. Let's say we got a Doctor Like EP starring Scooby Dum incoming, says Tim Kins. And thank you for your super chat, Mark Greaves. Hi all, I've just made an appointment to Specsavers because my eyes can't believe what they saw. Even my imaginary friend left me during that crap.
Your imaginary friend's got taste, that's all I can say,
Which, oh gosh. Stephen Braddock, you might think that, but I couldn't possibly comment.
He's not wrong though, is he?
Yeah, it is really all relative.
Well, yeah, I think Emilio's review was fair, leaning towards the being a little bit too kind. I think the way the series is now, a blocked toilet would probably get more ratings over 45 minutes than Shooty Gatwa does, to be honest. And this struck me as being a bit like a party political broadcast for the far left twat spangle party, because it was just, if you're white, male, if you didn't vote for anything other than Keir Wankus bloody Starmer, then you're the enemy. And that's what it was all about. And it just alienated and expressed its hatred for so many people in this country. It was just off the scale.
It just shows as well that we're under his skin.
Oh, totally, 100%. But he wrote it nearly 2 years ago. That's the thing, you know what I mean? So it shows you how much he hated us then, and it makes you think how much he must hate us now when he's realizing that what he thinks everybody's going to love, actually, pretty much most of them actually hate. But you know, I saw some things online from some people who might have been relevant in the 80s with missing episodes and stuff, and was writing how it was the most fantastic thing ever, and everybody that voted for Trump or reform were basically marked for death, you know. And it was just like, you are insane, and this is the kind of people that it's speaking to.
Allegedly.
Yeah. Well, my opinion was they are insane.
Oh, I thought you meant, yeah, okay, fine, yeah.
And you know, this is the kind of people that he's writing for, and it's just, God, how does it get on primetime telly? It's shocking.
What the big question is, how long is it going to remain on primetime telly? As you can see, we are Russell T. Davis is in the chat with us.
Evening, Russell.
Great to see you, RTD. Thank you for joining us. Don't forget to subscribe. We've got Bill Lowry saying, "Hey all." We've got RTD in the chat. Doesn't he look tired? Just Jordan is also saying to us, "I'm ridiculously fed up with Mrs. Flood. It's not clever. I'm not intrigued, and I just find it irritating now."
It's also
I knew she was going to be the prison officer at the end. You just knew that was coming, didn't you?
Yeah.
It's also been done time and time again of a character in Russell's writing that just pops up, and it's supposed to be this kind of interesting concept, but it's been done time and Badwell.
Well, he did it last year as well with Susan Twist.
Yeah.
It's just complete nonsense that
I mean,
he's trying to be not.
Even if she is the Rani or whatever, or who cares, it still doesn't explain the breaking the fourth wall and asides to camera, does it? That which I think is way beyond what he should be doing, because it's just wrong, isn't it? Really, it just doesn't serve any purpose, you know.
For myself, for this thing, we've got Duncan the Funky Evans saying to us, everyone knew Conrad would be a bad guy, and to prove how evil he is, he had to diss the legendary Brigadier. I did mention, didn't I, on Friday's headlines when we were previewing this episode on the channel, it was bound to be him. I think I just implied he's going to be the one that's going to be the bad guy, and
I think on a positive, he was really good. Yeah,
the guy was great.
Really
the guy
good.
that was
fantastic performance, definitely. Yeah.
It was a good performance. It absolutely was.
He upstaged Shooty no end in the end of the episode as well. Good God.
What else we got here as well? Robert Payne saying to us, "Nobody shouted Benny." I don't know what that means. Is that Crossroads?
No, that's from a Jodie episode. Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Right,
we'll move on.
Isn't that Shooty with his woolly? Isn't that Shooty with his woolly hat and Benny with his woolly hat?
Yeah. So I thought that.
Oh, I see.
But Benny had more range, didn't he? Really?
Yeah.
Benny was much sharper than the 15th Doctor. Yeah.
I'm completely lost now about which Benny we're talking about. I have to be honest. We've got that Jess saying weak, tepid, and lacking depth. Well, not. As for lucky, ? And Jane Smee, I thought the Kate actress was struggling to keep a straight face when answering the phone call from Ruby. She was off in 73 yards as well. This was a mashup again for me, and I've said this, haven't I? We're only 4 episodes in, 4 to go, 3 if you're me, and we've got these coming up. I'm bored. I was watching this at the very beginning. I was bored. I was just. Here comes all this family crap that I don't really want in Doctor Who anymore. This picking up of her story and all this sort of. I was just bored, honestly. And I agree with Emilio. Why was a companion of the Doctor going onto a podcast? Why is suddenly the Doctor? I mean, this was Love and Monsters 2. I felt I got the Love and Monsters vibe from this Lindelof.
Yeah.
And I was half expecting him to say eventually halfway through, I'm a member of Linda and I'm out to get the Doctor, for whatever he's done, turning his friend to goo or whatever. It was pretty obvious, as we said on Friday, that the little boy was going to be Conrad as well. So that was no mystery. But
I have to say, I liked the opening, JT, when they arrived on New Year's Eve and the TARDIS arrived there. That was quite nice. Until they came at the TARDIS. And then it went downhill.
Very quickly then, really.
Yeah.
It's again, for me, more nice ideas, but it needs those extra rewrites. Please, BBC Studios, get yourself decent script editors who have the confidence to turn around to authors, writers, and say, nice, but cut that and focus on those. Please, for the sake of the show. do the job and get decent script edited, because it was just all over the place again.
But he did it again. It was like Game of Two Halves. It started off to be one thing that became something else. He can't tell a linear story, can he? That's the problem.
No. Well, and this was Pete McTighe. Pete McTighe. I've been getting his name wrong because it's a silly name, and I've been pronouncing it the way it's spelled. But it was Pete McTighe. Thank you for telling me. It's silent G. But Pete McTighe, who's a great author, but as I've said before, I'm quite wary of him because I know which side he sits on, and it came out in this show. Honestly, I didn't like any of the messaging that was in this. Merry Old Soul Gigglesmith is saying, is RTD trying to be clever and write a Moffat-like lore-building series and failing, or is he just writing garbage because he has the platform to do so? What do you think?
Both.
Yeah,
Both.
definitely both. Yeah.
There you go.
I think it's just a shame they keep using the show for political reasons rather than like just being fun and for kids and families. That's the bit I find sad. I just would like to escape, I suppose. That's the way I did when I was a kid, and that's what I miss. I just want to get away from the world and all the issues that are in it currently, and would quite like to go back to the old sort of like historical stories and monsters. And I know that sounds maybe puerile, but that's what I liked about it.
I
thought
think
one other thing about the show, the monster was quite good. The quality of the monster, was the real monster, that was quite creepy.
Yeah,
that lot potential, you know.
It did. It was good.
We've got Lee Smith saying this was a taster for the Unit and Ruby spin-offs. Yeah, because we've got the Unit thing coming up. I'm hearing soon after Doctor Who finishes. So stay with us. Make sure you subscribe here on the channel because we are going to be looking at that piece of series as well. But this was the taster for it. From what I saw yesterday of this group of people that we're going to have to live through 5 more hours with, I don't care. They could all get bumped off in episode 1. I don't care. Really don't care. And Inspector number 23, it's good to see you. For the last 2 weeks, the Virgin TiVo has been out of sync with the start or ending of the show, probably as a trick to get people to go to iPlayer for the stuff they've missed. Oh, really? That's an interesting bit of gossip.
Well, Virgin are in Disney's pay as well. Are they? Okay. Or BBC.
Oh. Just Jordan's with us. I bet your dad's not watching, is he? Not us, I mean that. It was like the very first 90s rom-com, says Just Jordan. I can't remember any of them, so I can't comment on that one. But oh dear. And Jess is saying to us, I'm sorry to say it, but Grade had it right. Read Doctor Who and Unit this time around proved once again outdated and antiquarian. It was just... It just missed the mark again for me. It was actually quite a sound premise, really. But again, there were a few things there where you think, just take them out. Make more of the scenes in the pub. Make more of the scenes in the village, maybe. Or, you know, that's why I thought this is just a pilot for the Unit series.
I thought that the Unit helicopter bit was quite nice, but when Unit arrives, you're a bit like, really? You know? But
I was a bit disappointed because they made all this fuss, as we covered on Friday in the press, about we could afford a helicopter this time. We've done this. It was cut so badly.
Yeah,
and it was an American Army helicopter as well. I think it was a Huey, which the Americans use, which we don't and never have. But it was, I got the feeling at that point they were trying to riff off the Demons a little bit when Unit finally gets into Devil's End and everything, and you've got the vehicles storming in. But of course, again, lacked the excitement, the tension, the enjoyment, the script, the direction, the intelligence, the originality, lacked all of that. You know, the stuff that makes, what was that program called? Doctor Who, that's it. In the 70s and 80s. Wonderful stuff in the 60s. Great.
I also wonder at Unit Tower when he's coming up with the pew pew, and she's like, "Oh, and in like battle positions and like stay behind me." I was like, "Ooh, so scared! You've got no armor, no anything. You've got Ibrahim and a few people. What's that gonna do?" I was like, "Ooh, so scared."
They had a taser though, didn't they?
I know what Ibrahim's going to do with his gun like that. The minute he shoots it, he's going to break his nose with the recoil, which would be quite funny, to be honest. He should be trained better than that.
We've got Mike C32001 joining us. Hello, mate. How are you? I've seen more animation on the face of Lady Penelope than Gemma Redgrave. Along with James McCartney and Frank Stallone, she has proof that talent does not always run in the family. I don't understand this infatuation with Kate Lethbridge-Stewart. And I just don't. I wasn't keen on her in the Capaldi time. I remember the Zygon one where she was just a sort of.
I think the trouble is they
we've
need
written her
somebody.
wrong.
They can't follow Nick Courtney. They
No.
need somebody with some charisma, like he did, in order to carry it. And sadly, she doesn't have that. I don't think. You know.
Yeah, it's a very bizarre role. I mean, why? I mean, again, it's just another example for me, guys, of a fan running the show. In this case, Moffat.
Yeah.
Making himself look clever by giving him the surname Lethbridge-Stewart. You could have come up with a brand new, strong, wonderful female character. But no, they had to go and give it. Why? Because it sort of traps you into this whole thing, doesn't it? And all it, as somebody was saying in the chat, all it did last night was fan service because the Brig's mentioned. And yet your fan base who knows the Brig isn't watching. Simple as that.
But they're in love with the idea of lore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just not realistic, though, is it? I mean, you wouldn't have a major military organization that had been led by a particular ranking officer, and we saw in Five Doctors he'd been replaced, obviously because he'd retired and he was replaced. Who was the guy's name? Was it Carrington, or am I thinking somebody else? No, that was
Triton.
Crichton. That's it. Carrington was Ambassadors of Death, wasn't he? And so it's
Dynasty.
But it's just not feasible or viable that a military organization would be run by the relative of somebody that ran it previously. It's just, when does that ever happen? It is just done for fan service, and that's it. The only other place that I can think where it happens is North Korea, where, it's my son, he'll do it next.
Or the BBC.
Oh, the BBC, yeah.
Allegedly.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Can you imagine? Golden Age Geek is saying to us, guys, the thing is riddled with plot holes. Ruby's family stalk Conrad on social media, but don't see any of his anti-unit activism. Really? Also, if men said those things about women, just imagine. And Noodle Arms, I think Tom Baker could say that RTD and his fans are a classic example of the inverse ratio of the size of the mouth compared with the size of the brain. See what you did there?
That quote. Love that
One
quote.
of the best quotes ever. Legion of James is saying they didn't keep her in simply because, this is Millie, I take it, they wanted above all else to have actually non-diverse or ethnic TARDIS crew. Waving that flag was more important. At this stage, I would say it wouldn't surprise me. And James Fummock, nice to see you, mate. How are you? We've now had 2 white men, including incel bad guy episodes.
Out of 4. That's 50%.
Yeah.
Terrible.
And there won't be a. I don't know if I'm going to say it anyway because I just don't care. There won't be a white bad guy in it next week, will there? No, I just don't care because it's true. Douglas Smith is
the
good.
Spider's the bad guy next week, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, 1.5 million, that is low. This is my lucky day, says Douglas Smith. And Sliverwolf, how are you? Some places are already trying to round up to 1.51 instead of the 1.5. Like 10,000 fans would make those figures look even better. What planet are they all on? Honestly.
Desperate.
Nate Channel saying there's rumors of Unit Tower being destroyed in the season finale. I don't care.
Well, they destroyed the previous tower with Jodie, didn't they?
Hang on. Sorry, Ian, what did you say?
They destroyed the previous unit building in Jodie's era. It came, they blew it up and it came tumbling down, and they were literally stood on the pavement outside and didn't get hurt. It was just like, come on.
Oh, did they? And Paul, what did you say?
I'm just saying, if they've destroyed Unit Tower in the finale, it doesn't matter. They don't need it. They're not coming back to use it, are they? Apart from the Sea Devil thing. But Doctor Who won't need it because they're not coming back.
There's one thing that got me as a nerd and a geek was the absence of Mel, who I know is in this series. So she must be in the final 2 because Mel is coming back. And I love Bonnie, so I'm very excited to see Bonnie. I'm also very excited to see the actress that we talked about in Live at Sick, Ash. What's her name? Ash. She's coming into it. Thank you very much. Because she's a lovely actress, and I can't wait to see it. I just wish she was in a better version of Doctor Who. But there's that line about the absence of Mel. She's doing something in Australia.
Yeah.
And I just thought, there it is. There's
is that the convention she's at? Is that what it is?
No, she was looking at something in the harbour, the Sydney harbour, and I thought, there it is. that's the lead into the next series, their series. You know, maybe Mel's got a little cameo or a report or something.
What
David
made me laugh
Shaw-
was the baddie put on his podcast, I think, a list of all the people of who work for UNIT with all names and addresses.
Yeah.
And like, made me laugh because all the people they keep employing, from like, you know, Rose and blah blah blah, you can work for UNIT, Donna, etc. The list must be massive, you know.
It's also highly hypocritical. I want to speak more about RTD and his cronies and their hypocrisy later on in the show, with that awful speech that Gatwick attempted to deliver and failed. Because that was just pure hypocrisy as far as I'm concerned. Listen, David Shaw's joining us. David, hello. It is lovely to see you. Thank you for being with us here on Who's Views. Why is Doctor Who getting so many negative reviews? I think it's a great TV show. Sometimes it's bad, but it's lasted 60 years. Doctor Who is the longest running science fiction show ever. It is. It beats Star Trek by 3 years. So it is. And it's British.
It's just the current iteration's a bit crap, isn't it? That's the thing.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, we all love Doctor Who here, David. We really do. We're just not impressed with this reiteration, and we want to see it get better. It's like at the moment it was in 1989. It's just the other way around. As fans, I think back in 88 and 89, we were starting to enjoy the show again.
Yeah.
We were, you know, not all of us, of course, but it was interesting. It was getting somewhere. The BBC didn't like it. Now it's the other way around, with the fans not all coming to it and the BBC wanting to keep it. But it is getting some good reviews, David. But listen, stay with us, because you know, I don't think it was as bad as some of the. I know Jodie's got more to say because she thinks it wasn't as bad as it was. So we'll come to Jodie as well. Make sure of that. But we have got a good review for you, so it's not all bad reviews. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, yes, here on Who's Views, if you're a regular viewer, you will know that one of my favourite journalists ever in the world, ever, bestest ever, is of course from the Metro. Oh yes, no, sorry. Yes, it's from the Wotro. The Metro, and it is, of course, Asia, and she is back with us today with this article. Doctor Who's unexpected best episode yet exposes the show's biggest problem. Let's see what the lovely Asia had to say. The latest episode of the hit BBC Sci-Fi series returns to present-day Earth, where we check back in with former companion Ruby, who is settling into normal life after discovering her biological mother at the end of the last season. The episode, unexpectedly, is the best of the latest Doctor Who series so far, but it exposes a big problem that I have with the show's current era. Now she works with UNIT to help defend the planet from alien threats as she tries to cope with the trauma of being on the brink of life and death more than once during her time on the TARDIS. Enter Conrad, a plucky young podcaster who has been fascinated with the Doctor and extraterrestrial life since encountering him and Belinda as a child. After managing to convince Ruby to chat with him about life as a companion and the threats UNIT is protecting the world from, the two spark up a sweet romance filled with plenty of chemistry. The show does such a good job convincing you that the twist will be Conrad dying after failing to protect himself from the alien hunting him, so much so that the delicious plot twist that he is actually the bad guy is such juicy storytelling that it keeps you hooked for the rest of the episode. It's classic Doctor Who, character whiplash, fight against evil from the unexpected places, and layered social commentary that is capped off with an epic speech from the Doctor himself. Throughout Millie's acting, reminiscent of her powerhouse performance in the episode 73 Yards, it makes one of my favourite Ruby Sunday episodes yet. The slightly hardened version of Ruby beautifully explores how genuinely traumatic it would be to be flung in front of alien threat after alien threat at the age of 19. Her devastation, combined with gritty determination to push against Conrad when he shows his true colours, is excellently pulled off. Seriously, I was mesmerised. It's why I'm so sad that RTD has waited this long to elevate Ruby's character to these heights. Although she had a fun first season, the shortened number of episodes and unfortunate lack of character development meant she previously felt 2D at times. It almost feels too little too late to have such a high-quality episode near the end of the time on the show. We've been given a taste of how great Ruby could be, with no promise of ever fulfilling her full potential on screen. Perhaps if she'd been the full-time companion for the second season, there could have been a chance to explore Ruby and her relationship with the Doctor's life further. Instead, we'll have to make do with the taste we have been given so far. Meanwhile, although this is a Doctor Light episode, again an unfortunate choice when we already have such a reduced amount of time with Ncuti, his end-of-episode monologue is impactfully delivered. Especially face to face with Jonah, who, far from his days as a Disney prince in The Little Mermaid, brilliantly captures Conrad's villainous undertones. He's not a maniacal alien, dead set on wiping out the human race. His evil is the dangerous manifestation of his radicalization, unable to see sense beyond his own echo chamber. All in all, this episode blew me away with its brilliance, but I couldn't help feel bittersweet for all the epic episodes we could have seen with Ruby if we'd had the time and chance. But if Doctor Who maintains this quality for the finale, the show could save itself. 1.5 million, sweetie.
It's a hit.
Right. What do you reckon about Asia's latest piece of journalism?
Was she watching the same episode? Especially that monologue that Shooty had at the end. That wasn't greatly delivered at all. Dressed as man at C&A as well, for God's sake. Goodness me, really.
Yeah.
Hey, I had an outfit like that in Ibiza years ago, didn't I, Jode?
I'm sure you'd have carried it much better, but you weren't playing the Doctor when you were in Ibiza. Well, let's be
I
honest.
look bloody gorgeous.
No, you did have an outfit like that.
Do you remember?
We need photographs,
was-
Jodie.
that
Get the
was-
evidence up as quick as you can. Okay,
That was when I bought those. Remember those 70s platform boots?
Yes.
Which
Yeah,
I still
I can
have.
get them on. Yes, that's right. But white is back, everybody, which is great for the summer. Woohoo!
It's all coming out here, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there are certain points where I think Asia. Hello, Asia. We love you on this show. We love you. Keep it coming, please, darling. I mean, she's absolutely not going to deny the show that is in trouble. She absolutely 100% loves this thing, doesn't she? She's going to be one of these people that are going to have trouble if and when this thing is announced as coming off the air, even for just a year or two.
She said about Millie, I'm sorry, about lack of character development. I think she was the person who had the character development in the first series. She was good. She was really good.
Cracking.
So that doesn't make sense to me. I'm going to kill my dogs.
Don't write
They're
in.
not fans of the episode either, I can tell. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't write in. She's not really. She loves them, but she's not really. I agree. Again, I thought this episode was another marginally better one. For me, I still didn't feel Doctor Who coming through it. I'm going to be very honest. I was bored very early on. But I think it was better because he wasn't in it, and it was just it was just a Millie episode. She's good. She's really why wasn't she in the why swap her?
The bit where Conrad's horrible to her when he turns, that is beautifully played. She's really good, and the emotion's really good, and he was really horrible to her. That was a nice moment, I have to say. Mainly from Millie, obviously.
But Millie, she is brilliant, isn't she? She is brilliant. I mean, it's just the real case of, what a waste, honestly.
Yeah.
That whole speech wasn't the Doctor says problem being. It was just a hate-fueled lecture about how we are just noise and should burn to dust. It was disgusting. We'll get there eventually. I'm going to talk about that speech. Howdy, folks, says Sheldon Knox. Hello, nice to see you. John Cartwright is saying, hi, panel. RTD thinks he is Shakespeare. I do not come to praise Dr. Nutty. I come to bury him. Ooh. Gosh, we're getting serious now. And Glenn's with us. Hello, Glenn Piper. Yes, the actor playing the bad guy was very good, but I did like the reveal when we found out he was bad. Ruby Sunday, brilliant actor as well. Let's talk about that reveal then, because I saw it coming.
Yeah, it's a bit predictable, I thought, as well.
In what way?
Well, but just, you kind of... It would be too obvious to make it that he gets killed by the creature, wouldn't it? I mean, I think that would be far too obvious even for Russell. But I found it really bizarre that he claimed he hadn't taken the antidote, but he clearly had done, hadn't he?
I don't know. I don't know. Do you think he had?
I'm not sure, because some of it, I actually was watching. I need some of it explained to me, and I watched Unleashed. And there was no explanation in that either. So
now that's unusual.
Yeah.
I've said it before. If you have to go and read a magazine or go and watch a making of show to understand the script isn't finished.
It just wasn't. As ever, it just wasn't a very polished script. It wasn't written by someone who was a master of their craft, and I just think that's sad for Doctor Who. Yeah. I don't know. Hey, I mean, it was okay. It was an okay episode. It wasn't awful, but it wasn't. I mean, we all sat and watched it together, and it kept our attention for an hour. But I don't think I'll remember it much beyond. Well, if you ask me in a couple of months from now, I know I'll have ejected it from my brain.
I'm trying to remember. I only watched it yesterday. That's a problem.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm the same, Paul. I'm the same, Jodie. I can't remember these things because it's not it's no good. I'm not retaining the information because I'm not investing in it. And even though I will remember Millie Gibson as being a companion I liked because the actress was good, I can't tell you about the story she was in.
Well, let's go back to an analogy then. It's like the Scooby-Doo with Scrappy in it. It just is.
Yeah.
It's like
Scrappy Who, that's a new name for it. Fantastic, lovely.
A love bomb analogy sort of thing with the podcast that I actually found Conrad quite cringy. He was just trying too hard.
The romantic parts of it, you mean? Yeah.
Like he was just trying too hard, and it was like too trapping her to be like rose-tinted glasses that everything is wonderful and like I will listen to all your problems, but it was just in a really cringy way.
Yeah.
So I was waiting for some sort of like men are bad and women can't do no harm sort of thing. I was waiting for something like that when he turned.
Well,
so it was still predictable, but in that way that I just found Conrad as a character and the actor quite cringy.
To be fair, he was good eye candy though.
Yeah, he's a good-looking guy. Is he British?
Yeah, and he can act. And he can act. So he was.
He definitely act.
I know what you're getting at. Yeah, it was probably too over the top. But then I'm not expecting a great deal of the scripts these days.
No,
it's it's just it was okay.
And as I've said before in these episodes, as we get up to where we are now, the actor will do what the director tells them, or what some buyer will do. It's I don't think I'm not getting any sense in Doctor Who over the last couple of years, alleged Doctor Who over the last couple of years, that the actors are getting to really flex their muscles on this thing. I think they're being told in scripts, the read-throughs or something, this is how this is. But when you're given this sort of script as well, when you're working with a director, you're going to play it. But I do feel there's a restriction to them all.
Oh, well, I feel there must be a restriction because I know no one really rates Shooty here, but I watched him in Sex Education, and the guy can act. And I'm going to say that he is being told to cry as often. He is being directed to do that, and I do feel somewhat sorry for him because I think he's been led down this path and he's been told exactly what to do, and it's damaging. In all honesty, it's damaging to his career because I think he's good, and this could bury him.
I totally agree. We've been talking for we've Alio'd on this show on this channel about his next project. He's now gone from Doctor Who to do this next thing for an independent production for Channel 4, which is all about the TQ cult, which will appear on Channel 4 next year. I guarantee you no bugger's really going to watch that apart from a minority. I think that's going to finish this whole thing off because look at this has been a massive failure, and it was his show running, I hate that term, that has made it a massive failure. He could have gone the other way and said, let's make a great
the thing is,
drama.
As an actor, he should have been saying, I would have said, if I only do dram, but honestly, if I'd been told that out of how many episodes you have to cry in every single one, I'd have been like, that's going to lose its
Why am I doing this?
That's going to lose its impact. That's a mistake.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a bit of me I know he's young, but there's a bit of me thinks he should have been fighting that. He should have said, no, if you want that to make an impact, and I am really good at it, it needs to be used sparingly.
We said this other day there at one of the shows that because film and TV now is just rehearse, record, there's no room to rehearse it properly like they did on Classic Who, but you'd rehearse it like a play a little bit, and you get really into the characters and develop it, and you can iron out any problems, build your character, build relationship with fellow actors, all that kind of stuff. And there's none of that because people keep going about the charisma and the chemistry between the Doctor and companion, but there's none of it really, to be honest.
Got Mark Greaves there in the chat with us. Thank you for your super chat, Mark. I have to say RTD is spot on. As a middle-aged straight white male, I am planning to take over the world. Would anyone like 50p? That's not creepy at all. And Smiley People is with us saying, Millie is amazing. You really believe in her shuttle, which is something RTD isn't. She's got a lovely... I really like Millie Gibson. I think she's really, really good.
But there's a bit of me think she's brought herself into it, and she's actually, I'm going to kill my dogs.
Oh, she's off to do it. No, don't like.
Phone the RSPCA, quick.
They have been shut out.
I know.
Really? No, but I think she's brought herself into it, and I think she's resisted some of the direction. I think she has to have, because it is a subtle performance. It's not in your face and subpar, and
Probably why they wrote her out.
Sorry, Ian?
Probably why they wrote her out. You know, if she stood around, I mean, can you imagine?
Yeah.
What would Tom Baker have said if it said, "Hey, Tom, every episode I want you to cry like a baby"? He'd have said, you know,
I hate to think what he would have said.
Yeah,
but he'd have
bleep them out the entire time.
Yeah.
The idea would have been whip it shit, though, wouldn't it? We know that with Tom. I think Asaya is clearly a few twigs short of a branch, isn't she? She's not. I'm sure she said last week's was the best episode ever as well, and she is that epitome of the fan we take the mick out of, isn't it? Where it's the best episode ever, and they say it every week. But I think Millie Gibson's a good actress as well, to be honest. And I feel sorry for her that she's been landed in this to make a mark, because you know you're making your mark in a pile of shit, and it's not really a good mark to make, no matter how good an actor you are. But the whole narrative about she's got PTSD as a result of all the traumatic things that she saw at the age of 19. Well, hang on a minute. Ace joined the Doctor at 16 in Dragonfire and immediately met the Daleks and then the Cybermen and a host of other things, the gods of Ragnarok and all that kind of stuff. And it didn't send her off the deep end, did it? Sarah Jane Smith, she was back in, you know, she was in the Middle Ages with Sontarans. She was at the birth of the Daleks. She was in the far end of the galaxy battling Cybermen on Voga. She was fairly balanced, you know, and I mean, all right, she wasn't 19, but she wasn't an old woman either. And she seemed to do okay out of it. What is it from the very lightweight stuff that Ruby Sunday has got or experienced that sent her off the deep end? I genuinely don't know. I don't buy that narrative at all. It's just like,
she only did 9 episodes, for God's sake. Yeah.
I said that when I was watching, and the one that we didn't see, which was in last night's episode, the one in the shop. So they're implying other adventures there, so she might be, you know. But I said this last night, Ian, when I was watching this. I said, what did she go through last year? Because I'd forgotten. The only thing I could remember was Sutek and how that awful that was. I thought, what? And then I started thinking in my mind about what Tegan went through, what Sarah went through, what Joe went through, and how they all. It's a lazy way of coming back again to try and add character to these. To these people, these characters that they've made up, and try and add a development to them. To say she's got this thing PTSD, that's very now. So it was like you've told me before about this companion that was in the Whittaker era that had some sort of issue. It's like that, isn't it? It's trying to make them more interesting by saying, "Oh, this person has this," and then you don't play on it at all.
Well, you look at Jamie McCrimmon, who was taken from 1749 Scotland Battle of Culloden. If it was 1749 or 69, I apologise, Scots, if I got the year wrong. 45. Sorry, but within a matter of days, he was taken from that, and he was on the bloody moon. You know, but that didn't make him a gibbering jelly, did it? He handled it.
He said he started seeing phantom pipers and stuff, didn't he?
But it's true, isn't it? I mean, it's just this modern thing of having, because let's face it, the audience they're writing for, because of what they've been told in my opinion, by the adults around them, they're anxious because these adults around them are telling them they're all trapped in the wrong body, or the world's going to end tomorrow, or this politician's bad, or this is bad, and it's all right wing, it's far right, it's far right. It's no wonder that some of these kids are absolutely, utterly lunatic. You know,
you will get better in the algorithm if you talk about more truth, and you've got that you're a triangle with multiple tree branches, and that you've got, and they use PTSD as a joke as well, and they've probably just been attacked by a dog or a kitten. So
I don't even know what it is. I had to look it up.
Yeah, if you say stuff like that online, it will give you more traffic, more in the algorithm for certain things.
What, PTSD?
PTSD, or that you are a triangle, or you're trigender, or you've got trees coming out of you, or
if you're a triangle, so you've lost me now.
I'll send you the video.
Yeah. I was going to say, going back to the episode, though, it's really bizarre. I still think it's really bizarre that you'll bring back another character from last season and not continue to develop Belinda. You've only got eight episodes to make this character make a mark, and you take her out of it. That's just stupid, isn't it? Don't you think?
I now know at this particular point which one of the two I'd rather have. And
Of
apparently
course,
they're
yeah.
going to meet later on in the series, aren't they?
But to make sense of the character, it seems really daft to take her out of one episode where you only got 8 episodes, you know?
It does, absolutely. And that's why they should just stay with Millie. She was there filming at the time they're doing it. Anyway, we will know what happened there in the future. When this thing comes off there, we will know. It always happens.
Apparently, they were filming 2 episodes at the one time. They were filming her episode, and then she was filming another one with Belinda at the same time. So it was probably a cost-cutting exercise, no doubt.
I think it might be. We've got PTA here. It's Paul Thomas Ashworth, who liked the show. Paul, there's a lot of people in the chat. Thank you for watching us. Thanks for coming in. Paul, PTA, put why you liked it in the chat. I will try and find you. He's saying, no, I agree with everyone. Millie is brilliant. Matthew Burrows is with us saying Pete Matee is much better writer than what he delivered this weekend. From what I've seen of his stuff out with Doctor Who in the past, I would agree with that. I would agree with that because I watched and loved that. I can't remember what he did now, but there was a couple of things I've seen of his that were quite good.
He did like Praxeus, though, to be fair.
I don't know what that is, although I keep getting mixed up with Star Trek 6. Stephen Braddock is saying to us, the PDST Ruby stuff was totally unbelievable. There wasn't a hint of her not enjoying her adventures with the Doctor. It was just there as a plot contrivance to set up the ending. And Robert Payne saying to us, the first time I saw Millie Gibson, I wasn't impressed, but in light of others, she doesn't seem as bad these days.
I would have loved to meet Sutek as a giant dog, being a dog lover. That'd be fantastic for me. I don't know, you get traumatized by that, surely.
I think if you'd swallowed the time vortex, you might be a little bit more traumatized. You wouldn't just do what that one did and carry on, surely. Yeah. That one didn't want to go home at the drop of it. Oh, no, because that wasn't the time we're in. Do you see where the hypocrisy is coming in slightly? Rose swallowed the entire time vortex.
And it didn't even give her indigestion, did it? She was fine enough to regenerate. What happened there?
Yeah, she didn't even have to have a nap shortly after that, did she? She just watched this new fella prancing
like
around.
Like a heavy meal. Yeah.
Martha had to walk the earth for a year, telling stories about the Doctor whilst the earth was under the grip of the Master.
Yeah, and that was crappy, and there wasn't it?
Well, but it was, I mean, did that traumatize her? I mean, the only realistic thing there was when she came back to England, she landed on the beach in a small boat. I mean, that's topical these days, isn't it? Because every bugger comes across like that now, don't they?
She was just on her own, though, on that boat, wasn't she? With Tom, what's his name? Yeah.
Hey, listen, let's go and see what they're saying in the chat, because we've got a lot of people with us in the chat. Jay Nielsen, welcome to Who's Views. It's good to see you. You've got a little doggy there as well. Look at that, Jode. We don't know what Ruby experienced. She didn't go off the deep end. She's still functioning. She's just got some trauma she needs to work through. I don't know if I want my companions with trauma. I mean, they should be having fantastic time, but then you can call me old-fashioned because I grew up with Joe Grant, Sarah Jane Smith, Leela, Romana, Tegan, and they went through some real bad times as well. I mean, even Ace and Mel had some interesting times.
I just feel there's enough young people at the moment in our schools and in our society that are going through trauma that I don't know that that's what we need to see in television for entertainment.
Exactly, I agree. Yeah,
well said. Should be escapism, definitely, yeah.
I just feel that it almost makes light of the fact that a lot of our kids are in free fall at the moment.
Yeah. I mean, this is why entertainment, which the entertainment industry has forgotten the word entertainment, needs to be entertainment. It's to take people out. And Doctor Who, as you said, Joe, was one of those shows that did that for us. It took you out for 25 minutes.
It did. And don't get me wrong, obviously all these classic companions should have been traumatized by what they'd been through. But it kind of gave you an aspiration that that's not what they were, that they were somehow fabulous, that they didn't experience that, and I just there's enough.
We could have got a 26 episode season about Nissa. I'm sure we could have done,
Yeah. There's enough awfulness in the world that's not what I want to sit down and watch at 7 o'clock on a Saturday night. I'm sorry. No. I just feel very strongly that we have got a generation that at the moment really can't handle a lot of stuff and are being diagnosed as being having mental health problems when all they are is anxious about their exams. Well, of course you're anxious. They're exams. They're not nice. Of course these things aren't nice in life. but they're going to experience an awful lot more in life that isn't nice, that they need to learn to deal with. And I think Doctor Who kind of, I don't know, I just feel it's almost trivializing it, and they need to be trying to model a better way of tackling things.
I've said this in previous reviews, Joe. I think at the moment nobody cares about it. The more interested with how they can shoot in DEI, they're more interested they can put real life issues.
Yeah, I do think that really trivializes it. I'm sorry.
Of course it does. I totally agree with you. And I think this is supposed to be science fiction family drama.
It's like no one's watched. And if any of you haven't watched this film, please watch it. It's a film called Sullivan's Travels. It was made in the 1930s, I think. I might be wrong. But it was all about a guy who thought everything should be serious and everything should be, meaningful. And he ends up, I can't remember the whole plot, but he ends up in prison. And he's in prison watching films. And there's all these men who are in prison for really terrible things are watching a comedy. And they all start laughing. And he realizes that the entertainment is there for a really good reason. There's a reason why things need to be escapism.
Yeah.
And I just think that's what Doctor Who was. For me, Doctor Who was escapism. It gave me an hour not to think about some of the horrible things that were maybe happening in my life or in my friends' lives.
This is the problem when you get people controlling something like Doctor Who and they are absolutely obsessed with representation. Why would you want representation in something like Doctor Who when Doctor Who is supposed to take you away from the trauma that's going on around in your real life? I mean,
Absolutely.
we don't know. Everybody has a different story in life, but if you suddenly see it in something like Doctor Who, where it's being reflected, where something terrible is happening to you, you're automatically going to switch off. This is one of the problems, I think, why the British audience and now the worldwide audience, as well as millions of fans, are not coming to the show because it's not giving them the Daleks every other week, zapping stuff, or the Monster of the Week. You know what I'm getting to?
Absolutely.
Woodhouse wanted to.
We could have had that this week with the monster, couldn't we? I mean, that was a good monster.
They decided not to.
It was a good monster.
We've got Woodhouse 122 saying, I think Tegan had her anti-kill, possessed twice by the Mara, nearly sacrificed and witnessed all the Dalek exterminations, and not to mention Adric's death. Yeah, exactly.
And that was the best part of it as well.
Yeah, I mean, her character went through an awful lot. But when you look at the original Doctor Who companions, a lot of them did. They saw an awful lot of stuff. Matrix Lord 212 is saying, I'm having a hard time trying to figure out why this was an episode. That's nicely said. Robert Payne is saying, well, Yas had depression.
Yes.
Oh, the Jodie Whittaker girl. Right.
Yeah.
Yaz had depression, so a modern companion has to have some form of trauma, don't they? Danny Pink had PTSD too, but he won't, did he? Oh, I can't remember him. He was bloody wasting space, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Can't remember him. And Domgo. Hello, Domgo. Have you heard the FA Cup is kicking off at 4:30 next week? So extra time will wipe the Eurovision episode off the schedules in 2 weeks' time. We have heard about that. Stay tuned because, of course, we will be talking about that nearer to that episode. But the BBC and ITV were at loggerheads with the FA, weren't they, trying to get their way about when to put it in. PTSD is post-traumatic stress disorder, says PTA from Paul Thomas Ashworth. Yes, thank you very much. And Mark Jones is with us saying, Jo Grant, when she joined the Doctor, faced the Autons straight away, then the Daleks, the Demons, the Master, and she was okay. Again, it's trying to make them look real. And I'm not sure they should.
No, part of the whole thing about Doctor Who, in my humble opinion, was that when we were watching it in the 70s and the 80s and there was a companion, you wanted to be that companion. So the minute they make that companion so traumatized they can't deal with life, it's like, well, that takes the shine off. You don't want to be that person, do you? Because you don't want to be screwed up. Who wants to be screwed up?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is the problem. They're not very good role models, considering that's all they want to do these days, is to find role model after role model after role model for these people to fill that representation DEI quota.
They've got a desperation to make it seem real. That's the thing. They did it with Batman and stuff like that to make it a real world thing. It's not real, is it?
Yeah. Andy Gladhill, thank you very much. I'll come to your super chat in a minute. 12.9% audience share is the worst of all post 2005 Doctor Who so far for the overnights. None of us are surprised. We're not surprised because this is the worst reiteration of the reboot Who, I think, since the last one. And I didn't watch.
And that's saying something. Yeah.
In the chat as well, we've got Raymond Williams saying to us, the episode was well filmed, but again, it didn't look expensive. Where has this budget gone? Taxis. Moffat episodes looked more expensive. And Miles is with us. Where are you? Why aren't you on here? Oh, he's telling me, hi guys, I'm struggling to get on tonight. Apologies. Well, I wondered where you were. This episode was a nothing burger. Seen it before, been there, done that, got the t-shirt. The episode is just a retread of Love and Monsters. That's what I said earlier, wasn't it? It felt like Love and Monsters to me all over again, Miles. See if you can keep going and join us if you can. If you've got that here. A lot of you in the chat now talking about this. Marine Boy is saying to us, oh, we're not going to go into that one, but you may think that one, but I'm not reading that one out. Thank you very much, though, because you never know. You never know what could happen here.
And have to say, if that did happen, what's
it'd
the
be dead.
point?
It'd be dead. It'd be dead at the press launch. It'd be
Yeah.
dead at the press launch. After, if you're not with us here in the United Kingdom, great things happening here in the United Kingdom. Common sense is slowly starting to rear its head again. Take that, show business. Bloody idiots. Boring, lazy oppression and virtue labels, says Jason Parker. Like the unlikable companion who was a nurse, the PTSD thing is another lazy writer weapon to dump around the alleged story. No relevance and a fake foundation. Ooh, that's a good way. Yeah, that's. I wish I'd said that. That's good. That's good stuff, Jason. Well said. And entertainment creators with us, guys. This is the worst episode of the season. The episode shows everyone would respect some guy with a gun invading a unit base and revealing people addresses, and it's all fine. Now, I know what you mean by that, because something like Unit, certainly the unit I know, wouldn't have handled it that way. And again, that's been put in there, I think, by the scriptwriter and he who must be obeyed to create some sort of drama or get them from A to B. And that's why I think entertainment creator, a decent script editor could have come along and said, see that bit there? Doesn't make sense. Just go away and think about that again. It all seems rushed, Jodie, and everybody.
Yeah.
It all seems rushed.
But the problem is with the unit that's currently now on to the unit we grew up with is the unit we grew up with was very definitely a military organization.
Oh yeah.
The unit that around at the moment is a bit more huggy. And actually that was a good thing for the Doctor to play off. That was why it was done, I think, the way it was done in the 70s, for that reason, because it was a real contrast in the way that the Brigadier would handle things, the way the Doctor at times would handle things.
Yeah, look at the Silurians, for instance.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just a reminder, if you've just joined into us here, who's viewers, nice to see you. Please subscribe to the channel. If you have already subscribed to the channel, please make sure you are still subscribed to the channel. Give us a thumbs up as well. Great to see you. Come into the chat. Just to remind you, though, however, if you have tomorrow off as a bank holiday, go and look at You and Eden, I think it is, isn't it? You and Eden, the channel, because they start tomorrow morning from just after 9 o'clock. The reruns of the Pertwee era, which Unit, of course, plays a massive part of. Spearhead from Space hits your television screens again tomorrow, back to back. All 4 episodes. Yeah, it's screened throughout the day. I can't wait to get to it before our Blake 7 review tomorrow night at some point tomorrow. So yeah, go and watch it if you've got the day off. Go and support it. I
still have PTSD from missing the review of the Brian Blessed episode. Shouty.
Do you know what? Brian Blessed could have been in this episode. I think it needed him. As for the PTSD storyline, says Miles, what a joke. As an army veteran myself and knowing friends who actually have real PTSD, it makes me sick of TV shows and movies just throwing out there that word. It's
insulting, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Insulting. Yeah.
I mean, they're allowed to do it when it's something like this, when they think they know what they're talking about, when they don't. But try saying a woman is a woman and they'll go play merry hell. Mark Reeves, thank you for your super chat. We had to watch Turlo. Now that's PTSD.
I like Turlo as well. Yeah,
I loved Turlo.
She did. She was Turlo obsessed.
I really did, though. He was fab.
John is saying to us, we seem to have a lot of TV shows that offer no escapism, and that is what we do need now.
Yeah, we do.
More now than ever. Well said, John. We really, really do. We really do. And Raymond Williams saying, kids are traumatized by the likes of RTD. Let teenagers be teenagers. Pop music being crap hasn't helped. In the past, the music scene helped kids get through this period of time. He's not wrong, though, is he?
No.
He's not wrong. Now all you get is, these idiots that are talking nonsense as well, and no real role models around. This is why I'm going to put it out there, who's viewers. This is why I think there needs to be an actor in the role of the Doctor that's in his mid-40s 250s. Somebody that grew up in the 70s and 80s with Doctor Who, has got common sense, knows what's what, and puts him in the role as a role model, because the Gatwa's Doctor is so weak as water. He's not a role model, really. And Matthew Burrows, Jodie, is saying, I love Turlo. There you go. Yeah. Sean Oliver, it's good to see you. Well, welcome back. I think you've nailed it about escapism. I'm tired of being preached to. I had 40 minutes of getting away from the grind of life.
Yeah.
It's just everything is taken so seriously these days. Nobody's allowed to disagree with each other. They're bloody mortal enemies if they do. It's sad. It's like, geez, do you not have any friends that don't think the way you do? That's living in an echo box. That's disturbing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm quite happy for my friends not to agree with me. Doesn't bother me.
No. Well, it doesn't, does it? I mean, we've had enough disagreements in the past, haven't we?
Absolutely.
Actually, over that top. We've also got here, entertainment creator. They need to stop. The show really is stupid. They show people supporting a guy with a gun entering unit, also revealing people's addresses and people supporting him. And Robert Payne is saying, I enjoy how JT is always baffled by references from the Jodie Whittaker.
I'm baffled as well, and I watched it.
I still haven't finished Flux.
Oh,
really? Right. I understand. Yeah.
I gave up after one episode. I was like, just wanting to cry at how sad it was.
Well,
so,
you say, there you go. That's all you need to know.
Episode, was that only one you watched? Yeah.
Yeah. I just, the dog.
Dog, yeah.
No. Just no.
Carvanista, whatever his name was. Yeah.
No.
I'm completely lost. Oh, to Digital Pollution. Good to see you. And George is saying we've missed Jodie's balanced wisdom. I'm going to get that on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
And Julianne is saying they've blown the budget on the Eurovision episode. Probably.
Yeah.
We'll be here in 2 weeks talking about that, going, oh, that's where the money went.
I miss the bubble wrap. The monsters with the bubble wrap.
I miss the inventiveness.
We thought they were awful. Little did we know.
Oh, goodness me. Lots of you in the chat. Thank you so much for joining us. Keep your thoughts coming. We've got Duncan Evans here. It's Love and Monsters without the fun of a Blue Peter monster in it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, as Paul was saying before, the monster, well, it wasn't bad. It really wasn't bad.
I liked it.
Yeah, they kept it. I mean, I just think it should have been the monster. You know, why? I'm going to ask why? I've been asking that for the last year. I don't understand this show anymore. Why?
It looks proper gargoyle-y.
Yeah.
That's what Paul said on Friday. It looks like something rock, you know, from the. But it reminds me of that thing in Ghostbusters. You remember Ghostbusters? The dog thing?
Yeah.
There's a lovely shot when it's in the unit containment container thing, and he kind of sneaks past and it slimes past the glass. That's lovely. And then
that's lovely.
The creeping about was really, really good. You know,
it does look a bit like that. Jodie's got a gargoyle. Let's have a look at that.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, that's one of my exes there. Everybody. Just kidding. Yeah. So I just don't understand why they've gone away from this whole monster of the week type thing and tried to mess around with the format of Doctor Who now to be able to say,
because
oh look,
it might have worked if they'd actually been clever about it. It might have.
I said last week for last week's episode, which was called The Well.
Mm-hmm.
That might have been better had it been 2 episodes. I think this is another one that should have been 2 episodes because it had too much going on in the world. This is the problem with Doctor Who today for me. There's no chance to breathe, to scale things out because they have to get it done within 45 minutes. Bang, 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 bang. Plot holes. As the Golden Age Geek was saying, there's plot holes there, plot holes there. There's plot holes everywhere. And then you have to go and watch the making of show to understand what the plot was. That's not how it should be.
I thought last week's was actually pretty good and I did like it. But yeah, it was just... They didn't have a chance to develop people and to get more empathy towards the other people, protagonists in it, if you like. And yeah, you're right. It needed to be, I hate to say it, the whole format, 4 30-minute episodes or 6 30-minute episodes. Yeah, they compromise it all the time, unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly. We've got Problem P saying the radicals at the BBC and Bad Wolf will never allow us escapism when activists are obsessed with never letting us get away from their incessant noise. Yeah, I mean, show business is gripped by these far left political activists, unfortunately. And I don't see that ending at any time soon, especially when they're signing letters to challenging a Supreme Court piece of fact. We've got Stephen Noddler's SO, hello you. The monster wasn't scary or a threat to anything. That's what I'm trying to get at, Stephen. Thank you for that. Those monsters were so good they should have been.
Yeah, I thought they were good. It's just they didn't make it scary in that episode, but they were scary.
I think what killed it as well, having the activist dress of the monster, that killed it a bit in terms of atmosphere and tension, didn't it, really?
No, it did. And I have to say that was the comment that my girls made. My girls said, because I was joking about hiding behind the sofa, because I did actually do that. They made a joke that you wouldn't hide behind the sofa for this ever.
Well, you wouldn't, would you? And it
How
doesn't matter because nobody's watching.
How did his mates know how to make those relatively accurate suits? Because when would they have seen the real creature? And if he described it, he wouldn't have described it accurately, but they were accurate, I suppose. You know, it just didn't follow through, did it? Like so much of this era, it just didn't follow through at all.
It's also great they're all fantastic actors. All the bit in the pub with Ruby and trying to convince her that he adores her and all that kind of stuff. They're all fantastic actors, aren't they?
Philip Latham, everybody. Philip Latham, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, was back in Doctor Who. He hasn't been seen in Doctor Who since 1983 because, of course, he was in the Ark of Infinity and the Five Doctors. There he is behind the bar. Not Philip Latham, sorry.
Paul Jericho, yeah.
Paul Jericho, thanks.
I was going to say Philip Latham's been dead for years.
Yeah, no, Paul Jericho. Sorry, getting him. But there he was, and it was lovely. I haven't seen him on TV in so long, and it was nice to see him. But I blinked.
Yeah, and you missed him. Yeah,
and he's such a good, capable actor. He could have had. Yeah. Now there is an actor that could be heading up UNIT.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
If you want to see more of his career, watch Triangle. He's very good in that as well.
Oh, I love Triangle. Kate O'Mara, of course, in that as well. Loved it. Love it. Bring it back. No, don't actually. No, because woke. Matthew Burrows said, bring back the Mara because the show is not scary anymore. I wouldn't want to see the Mara back in this. Can you imagine? They water it down. But that's what I'm talking about, everybody. That quality. I remember I was 80. What was it? 82, wasn't it, for Kinder?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm 12. And Kinder was fascinating for me to the point where I was scared. All that black and white stuff, those wonderful actors, Janet in the negative pose, that's what introduced me to what I think we now called psychology. And all this sort of stuff, because it was just brilliant script, but it was scary, wasn't it, Matthew? And G35's with us saying, can you imagine what the Hinchcliffe team could have done with the Disney budget? Oh god.
Oh, don't even go there.
But would they have been as resourceful? Because I think a lot of early Doctor Who now, I don't think we realised it at the time, was resourceful because they didn't have the budget.
That's the problem. And I think we've said this before, haven't we, Who Views? The fact that now it has this massive budget, it seems to be a little bit more lazy.
No, they're not trying with the scripts.
The scripts are the problem,
Lots of you in the chat tonight. Thank you so much for this. We've also got this one from Carwin. The overlapping arc to the finale to tie it all up is not needed. It's not going to be clever enough or shocking enough to pay off. And as I say, nobody's watching. And Third Doctor Ian, yes, that was one of many plot holes. How did they know what the Shreek looked like?
Yeah. Didn't work.
Yeah, because they hadn't publicized it, had they? UNIT.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's just again, as Golden Age Geek mentioned earlier, it's a plot hole. It's convenient, isn't it? And it just shows you that I don't think it's just get there. Andy Radar, welcome to Who's Views. It's good to see you. Thank you for your super chat. I'm watching a bit behind. Oh, really? Oh, I see. And whilst this wasn't used, Martha's family was suffering from PTSD after experiencing the year that never happened. Did they?
Wasn't that erased though that year? Nobody remembered it, did they?
I thought so.
They had PTSD because they remembered the year, didn't they? Because they were in the time reset thing.
Yeah, they did remember because that's why the mum wanted to shoot the master, wasn't it?
That's right. So they remember all that. So I would imagine that would be stressful and tension. Yeah. But again, it's just very modern Doctor Who. This is where, if you're new to the channel, hello, welcome. I can't stand all this soap opera stuff that's come into Doctor Who since 2005. I don't want to know about the family. I don't want to know about boyfriend.
I found it really boring. And the romantic parts as well. God almighty.
Yeah.
If kids are watching, especially boys, will be really bored. Tell you that. Yeah.
Call me old-fashioned. I don't care. I'm old-fashioned. I don't care. But thank you, Andy Radar. It's good to see you. Philip Roy's with us as well. If you don't know, he's got a Doctor Who fan-made film coming back, very 90s. Yes, it's coming back, everybody. Philip's saying to us, they made the monsters fake and it killed what tension had been built up. They did exactly the same with the fake threat to the pub in 73 yards. Oh, good point. I hadn't thought of that. Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
And that's the problem, isn't it, guys? When you're writing things at the same time, you can't get the feedback.
Yeah.
And you're in that bubble as well. Literally, you are in that bubble, so you think everything's fabulous.
I think Russell's too worried about doing Doctor Who cliches, which is a shame because that's how it works. You know what I mean? That's Doctor Who, you know?
Yeah.
Tyler Durden smiles with us. If the monster effect lights and electrical equipment, how could they use a taser to take it down? And also, how did the pub lights flicker on and off if it was two guys in a costume? Answers on a postcard to Whose Views, BBC Television, London W12 8QT.
And none of this will be explained by the finale either, will it? We'll still be hanging, waiting to find out what's going on. Yeah.
It's somebody else that's new to us. It's Stride Eye. Nice to see you. If Kate stunned the creature, that scene would have made sense. But to see her arms crossed while someone was eaten live on air, I would want units shut down. I think that was the whole thing about the episode, wasn't it? This whole thing about them trying to be clever with this whole live podcasting stuff, which actually does happen in the real world. We know it, where these idiots go out and glue themselves to a motorway and then film it. I'd run them over, wouldn't you? But anyway, you know, it's a case of like, you know, it just annoys me, that whole thing, where they do, because this guy's insane. And the fact that they were mentioning these things like hashtags close unit or whatever, and it was all resolved a little bit quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, what did you guys think of that whole narrative that was going on there?
What I thought was interesting was the think tank thing. Was that maybe a reference to Robot or not? Or was that random?
I thought that. I wondered that. Got to be honest, but I think that was probably a bit too deep.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah. I maybe get
but
too
then
much
knowing
credit
RTD and how he's mined the classic series whilst telling you don't need to know anything about it, it probably wouldn't surprise me if it was a reference to Think Tank.
Hey, do you know what? That's brilliant, because that flitted through my mind for seconds, and I thought, no, I've got that wrong. But do you know what? It probably is, isn't it?
I think we all thought it probably. Yeah.
What do you think in the chat, everybody? It probably is, isn't it? Because I just put it across as one of those sort of whatever, you know, and dismiss it very quickly. Think tank, but yeah, from Tom Baker's first one, it probably is. You're right, guys. It is RTD playing around again, isn't it?
As much as I don't want to boost the ratings by watching it again, I mean, it might be worthwhile seeing if the Think Tank logo from Robot turns up anywhere.
Well, listen, don't forget, everybody, if you want to watch it again, you can. Just do it after the 28-day ratings are in, because it'll mess up our show.
The other thing I think is a bit tired now is, I have to say, it was fine in the Pertwee era to have everything set at that time because he was trapped on Earth and there was UNIT and all that. But I'm getting a little bit tired of it all being in current day. Current day issues and current day trauma and current day nonsense.
Politics.
I just would like it to be, or have a feel. I mean, the one chance they did have to do that was with the 60s episode, but it didn't feel like the 60s, you know?
What the one with the drag queen?
Beatles one, yeah. It just didn't feel like that era. So they're not even getting the historical episodes right. So I know, I suppose I'm a little bit tired with the Earth now and current day.
And yet last week's Well worked very well for them, because
it did.
We said on the show last week, in our review last week for the Well, that was a better one. I'm going to put it out there this week to say this one was on a par in a sense, but I think I'm going to be mean and say it's just simply because Shooty Bloody Gatwa wasn't in it. So
when he was in it, good God, yeah.
Well, yeah, let's come to that in a minute. But they can do it, and the public now, the British public now, they're not watching. Let's face it, 1.5 million.
Oh, they're not watching.
They have long gone. We've said that before on this show. But even if the Notwees did tune in, they would expect the Doctor to be on an alien planet. But as I've said before, they can't even see who the bloody Doctor is. And in this one, he wasn't in it to the last 2 minutes. You know, plot hole, says Real Steve. The guy on the inside must have taken pictures of the real aliens so they could dress up as fake aliens to disprove the real aliens seen by the inside. Thank you. You've just solved my, I'll sleep tonight. Actually, now, Real Steve, I will. I'll sleep. Thank you for that, because that kept me up all night worrying about that, I have to tell you.
But they genuinely didn't think that the aliens were real. Yeah. So they would just ask him what he was taking photos of. They'd still think it was fake, wouldn't they?
Oh, God, now I'm getting a headache. We've got here from Disturbance Film TV. Welcome to Who's Views. It's nice to see you. If Conrad had an inside man in UNIT, surely he would have confirmed that all the alien stuff was true. Oh God, I can't stand all this now. Yeah. It's right, isn't it? There are so many plot holes. There really are.
But it's because they try everything far, far, far too intricate and complex.
They're trying to be too clever, aren't they? That's the thing.
Like, just do something simple. It's meant to be simple. It's meant to be good guy fights nasty aliens. Yeah.
Yeah, a Time Lord in his TARDIS fighting monsters.
Yeah.
Ratings for Lucky Day were 1.5 million, the lowest in Doctor Who in history until next week. Well, where's it going to go? We will be playing the ratings game very shortly, everybody, whether Whotastic panel and you in the chat will be able to say this. And GD is with us saying, I was lucky I never saw it.
It was your lucky day then, yeah.
Do you know what? I've said it before and I've said it again. It is such a sad time to be a Doctor Who fan, because here we are and we're not into it. Lots of you in the chat with us tonight, not into it. If you are into it, please come and tell us why. What are we missing? What are you seeing? But it's so sad, because more importantly than any of us as fans, the British public have gone. It's obvious. 1.5. As I said before, if this was any other show, especially 10, 15 years ago, this thing would be on BBC Two next week.
Yeah.
It's such a shame. If the ratings don't matter, says Heretic, and people's viewing habits have changed, then why do the 28-day figures ever back that up? Again, as we've said in our headline shows, as you know, Heretic, the overnights do matter big time. The ratings do matter to those people, especially these little people who run around the show business now called accountants, because they seem to be running everything. It's not about creativity anymore. It's about making money, bums on seats. Everything matters, and these ratings do matter. And that's why I personally feel that they've brought in these 4 device things, the 28-day rating, to try and bump it up. But with 1.5 million in 28 days, it's not going to bump up. As we've seen with the other episodes now, it's not going to bump up that much, is it? It really isn't.
What would be interesting is, we said before, if the Eurovision episode doesn't get broadcast because of the football, how will that be represented on the iPlayer? Because you can't trust that, can you? So how are we going to gauge how much they actually got from the iPlayer?
That's one for Bedouin. I'm not worried about that. That's his job. Lex Kane is saying to us, RTD is a copycat, stealing ideas or reusing storylines. It's getting a bit boring now every week. And last night, I'm going to say it last night, the first thing I noticed in this particular episode last night was the actual fact that they'd taken from the first episode of the K9 series, K9, written by Bob Baker back in 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That first episode, Regeneration, the monsters in that episode mark their territory, mark their victims by spewing something at their victim. And then they go and find them. And here it is again in this episode. And I just thought, I know where RTD's got that one.
I have to say, I tried watching that season. No disrespect to Bob Baker, but it was awful. I'm sorry.
Well, you're going to be watching it again on this channel. Stay with us.
Oh
no, Marie UK. Thank you for your super chat. How do you not need to know about Classic Who when they are constantly doing weak callbacks to it? Ian's been saying this for ages now, haven't you, Ian?
I have really. I've been wittering on repeatedly, but it's a valid point, isn't it? If he hadn't gone out and said that you specifically don't need to know anything about it, then it wouldn't be an issue. But he did, and then he's doing what he's doing. And I don't know whether or not he's just talking to his sort of like bedwetter audience, where he doesn't want them to go and look at the classic series so they don't realize that he's ripped off other far more talented people's ideas as much as he has.
I want to know, I hope a lot of them are going back to find original Doctor Who. I don't know. It's going to be interesting what happens with the You and Eden channel tomorrow with Spearhead and Space, and if that's going to carry on. I mean, are they going to carry? Because we've said on the show there are certain shows, and I'm going to point to Last of the Summer Wine on a repeat channel. that is getting more than 1.5 million.
Yeah.
And it's 10, 15 years old. This is honestly, this is really sad times we've got
I
coming
have
in.
to say, the U channel's excellent.
Oh, I love it. I'm catching up with all sorts of things.
I'm
Joan.
currently watching The Bill. It's like, I don't remember The Bill being this good, but it's actually really, really good.
You're watching Who's Views. Nice to see you. Thank you very much for joining us. Oh, this is probably somebody from the Doctor Who Gay fans group on Facebook. They hate me. Let's see who's on the phone. Hello, Who's Views Reviews. Can I help you?
Hello, is this the Who's Views YouTube channel? I'd
Yes,
just
it
like
is.
to say I am an anonymous viewer who's not watching because I don't take notice of online content. I ignore it. Why do that? Why breathe in the toxicity? Why breathe in the exhaust fumes? No, there's no need to worry about the numbers, the overnights, the consolidated. There's really nothing to worry about at all because television is different these days. We don't register overnight viewership. It's more effective to measure that how many people say hashtag RIP Doctor Who. We found we've got higher numbers that way, so that's the new metric. So whoever the geniuses are who are making Doctor Who, that's what they're doing. I can't wait to see what they've got in store for season 3, 4, 5, and beyond. It's going to be exciting, it's going to be fun, it's going to be slippery, and we cannot wait. Anyway, I'm going now to not take notice of online content.
This guy's phoned in before, hasn't he? I recognise that voice from somewhere. Thank
I
you.
bet he's reversed the charges as well.
He has, yeah. I'm sure he has definitely phoned in before, and I'm not quite sure, but yes. Well, thank you for phoning in and thank you for watching. Really appreciate it, but I think you're talking a load of poo. Honestly, outrageous stuff going on there. But yes, God, 1.5 million. The overnights do matter. It doesn't matter what anybody says; they do matter. Thanks for watching us. It's good to see you all. Lots of you in the chat tonight. Oh goodness me! Moriarty's with us, saying a big +1 for Ian on this one. Ooh.
Yeah.
Indeed. Austin Woods.
Thank you very much.
And in Lucky Day, they use the Gallifrey theme for like 5 seconds when Think Tank appear. It makes no sense, do they? I haven't noticed Murray Gold's.
Yeah.
No,
I didn't
no,
stop that.
no, I don't remember it. Do you know anybody else? No,
No.
no. Was it Barry White? Silver Wolf, how much? And Forbidden Man saying that was Kirsty's husband. No, he makes more sense. I tell you. Matthew was saying it's Boris Johnson. Was it? Goodness me, I wondered. Or it was the Garm on the phone, says Duncan.
Oh, good point. Yeah.
Matt, the Silent Wee Music King, is with us saying, I'd rather have Shrek in Doctor Who than the Shreek. And Marie UK saying, is that Doctor Who Mania back? Oh, bless him. Is he? Is he back with us? Doctor Who Mania joined us last week on the show, of course, and challenged us, which we love. We loved. But if he hasn't come back, he didn't like it. Oh, bless him. Third Doctor Andrew is joining us saying, hiya. So what we're chatting about today, we'll have a guess. We are here, of course, talking about last night's Doctor Who episode, which was called Lucky Day. But cue all the jokes, of course. It wasn't at all. It's a sad day. Graham, evening all, keeping a low profile, has not watched this season, but I'm thoroughly enjoying everyone's opinions as always. Well, thank you so much, Graham. It's good to see you. I'm glad you're enjoying the show. Java Bean is saying to us, that sounded like a weirdo on the phone. Well, yeah. And David Shaw is saying to us, is Doctor Who back in the cinema again? It has been announced. Yes, the last 2 episodes, David, if you want to go and get your tickets, are now available at your local cinema. If they're participating, you can go and see the last 2 episodes at the end of May.
I saw someone.
End of June.
I saw someone commenting on last year's cinema release, and it made me laugh because they said it only made £36,000, but they reckoned that was quite good. That surely isn't good for a cinema, is it? Really? Would you say?
Well, the repeats of the Peter Cushing films, to use that term, got more than that.
Yeah. Well, there you are then, because it's not going to make any money, is it? Let's be honest. Again, this is another channel that was saying how wonderful that is, you know. And
another channel? What are you talking about?
Yeah, I think it's another channel. There's one other channel, I think it is. Yeah, just one. Yeah.
How bizarre! I had no idea about that. What's he talking about, everybody? We've got lots still to come for you as well, including your scores on the TARDIS stores. That's all coming up. Crying. Well, crying. We have to say that miraculously, Ncuti Gatwa's doctor did not cry in last night's episode, so everybody was wrong with last week's crying game. Emilio went with 4, Ian went with 3, Paul went with 3, I went with 2. So yes, we all got it wrong because the answer was 0. I think we're all stunned by that, aren't we?
He
But
didn't
he
look like he was going
wasn't
to cry when he was being confronted by the villain at the end. He was busting into tears there. I'm sure he was.
I was expecting it, I must say, but that does not stop us because next week we're going to be looking at this. How many times is he going to cry next week? Let's have a look. It's time to play the crying game. All right, then. Here we go then. How many times will Ncuti Gatwa cry, or his doctor cry, in next week's episode, which is called The Story and the Engine?
He's going to cry because they're going to get his hair cut wrong, aren't they?
This is the one next week
in the
that's going to be
barbers.
set in a barber shop. Don't worry,
You
we all
mean-
went back to the last night. Go on, Joe.
How many separate cries or how many tears he lets pool in his eyes?
Whatever. Join them together because that's too much of a good question and I can't deal with it. So whatever you want it to be. How many times do you think he's going to cry? Okay, so we'll start with Kirsty. How many times do you think he's going to cry in The Story and the Engine?
I am new to this game,
You are.
and this will be my first full episode of him next week of season 2. So I am going to say, stab in dark, 2. I will say 2.5, and what I mean by half is like 2 proper cries and 1 like dramatic EastEnders style tear.
Oh, gosh, she's really getting in deep for the first one, isn't she? Lots of you in the chat already putting this in. Thank you very much. Douglas Smith is saying the title sounds like Thomas the Tank. It does, The Story and the Engine. Yeah, it does.
It won't be as good as that, I'd imagine. Yeah.
No.
ID Boy is with us saying, I haven't watched any of this series, but I have to say last night's episode was by far the most recent one I haven't seen. Thank you for that, Tidy Boy. That's brilliant. Lots of you putting their marks in there. Jodie, we're going to go to you. What do you think is going to cry?
I think it's just going to be once, but it's going to be a close-up on the tear welling in his eye. Before
Right, one and close up. There we go. Okay, I'll just make a note of that. Okay, Paul, how many times is the doctor going to cry next week?
Well, as he didn't cry last week, I think he's grown up now, don't you? And he won't cry again. I'm kidding. No, twice.
So how many do you think? Sorry,
Twice.
you think he's going to cry twice?
Yeah.
And third, Dr. Ian, what do you think he's going to do?
I'll say 3 times, twice for the story and once because they'll be so happy that there's no white people in it because we're all evil. No, 3.
I don't like all these segregational things that show business do, you know, where black only plays and stuff. It's too apartheid.
I have to.
reminiscent.
Can I interject with this? I nearly died online when they were talking about next week's episode on TikTok, and someone went, "Oh yeah, this is the Wakanda episode."
If only.
Yeah.
If only.
I suppose they're being called Istonot and all sorts of things now, won't they? I tell you.
It'd be great if
Honestly.
Black Panther was in it, Kirsty, don't you think?
Gary Lee is here. Hello, Gary. It's nice to see you. And saying, I cry every time it's aired.
You're not the only one.
Not the only one. It's getting that. Yeah. Oh, God. 4 more to go. And then we've got 5 of this other bloody thing on the way. Ian, sorry, what did you say, Ian?
3.
You're saying 3. I will check with Emilio and Miles off air what they want to do, and I'm going to say 2. Okay, 2 for the doctor crying in this episode next week. Somebody's bound to get eaten by a giant spider and looking. Thank you very much, everybody, for your scores there. That was very fun. So carry on. Got lots still coming up for you as well. Gosh, yeah. Let's get on to this thing that really I did not like for several reasons. This speech at the end of the show. Had this been properly written, because I reckon this was, and I know it's written by Pete, but I reckon this could have been said by RTD when he's picking up some TQ Cult Award. And that's what it reminded me of. But had this been a speech that was delivered correctly and played by another Doctor, i.e. any one of the first four, and possibly even Smith and Capaldi, I think this could have been delivered and had more of an impact. Please discuss.
Yeah. I thought that they probably, Pete and with from the Lords and Masters of Above, they probably sat there and gone, we are so clever, we are so cool and edgy bringing this out. And they're probably thinking, oh, this is his big speech moment, that they all in their legacies have this big dramatic speech that everyone still talks about years down the line. Like we've had like Eccleston at the start of the days, Matt Smith, pretty much like when his first episode, Rings at Ackerton, Capaldi, anytime he opened up his mouth, they were thinking we're probably having something that this is punchy, is edgy. And really, if you watch it again, or if you watched it last night, you just kind of feel like when they're there, you tried to be a big boy, but you didn't deliver.
I kind of felt the same. I said it already. The outfit doesn't help him. I know you had an outfit similar, JT, you mentioned already, but I think if he had his leather jacket on, but he had earlier on in the episode, he looks great in that. That would have helped a little bit to look less ridiculous, but it was delivered really weakly. Honestly, he's no gravitas as the Doctor whatsoever. Jodie, I've not seen Sex Education, so I've never seen him do anything else apart from this, so I can't gauge what he's like as an actor doing something else. But in this, he is not the Doctor. I've said that so many times before.
I would agree, and I still don't know, because I only have Sex Education and Doctor Who to go by. I still don't know whether he is a good actor or whether he was just playing himself in Sex Education. I honestly don't know, and I don't want to say, because I could be entirely wrong. It may be this is what he plays, and that is all he plays. And I'm going to say right now, I can't remember what he said in the speech. I'm really sorry, so I can't contribute to this bit.
Well, this is good, because Third Doctor Andrew said, what did he say? Tell me someone. I have to be honest, I can't remember word for word verbatim. Ian and Paul might be able to. I can't, but I remember being insulted, because basically what it was written to be, if you don't think like us, if you are not with us, you are. And they did in Doctor Who use the F word. And I'm not talking the FUC one, I'm talking the FA, the nasty people from the 1930s, 40s in Germany. They use that word. We're not allowed to use it on this platform, I believe, but they use that word. And that's a strong word. And there are some of us here that had, family. So it's not that far removed, really. Okay, in a sense, okay, it's 80 years. But, do you know what I'm saying? There's still an influence. Those are those that grew up with people that were affected by that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And this is where it comes to me again, guys. I found every single word of this bloody speech hypocritical, because it reminded me of one of these things RTD kicks off about when he is receiving a TQ Cult Award. And everything about it was, excuse me, it's not that side of the political spectrum that's caused all the bloody problems in society. It's yours. It's the far left with your delusions and your ideologies and your dictates. It's you lot. And I just thought, how dare you preach to your now, thankfully, non-existent audience? And I was so annoyed about that. And the fact is, he couldn't pull it off either. He didn't deliver it. It was awful. Absolutely awful. We've got here as well, from Problem Being, the speech was not the Doctor. That was pure hatred and bile from a RTD Gatwa. The Doctor showed mercy to Davros, but here he wants a conservative white male to burn ash. It was disgusting. Yeah, there was an awful thing in there where there was this other bit about, I'm fighting this, I'm fighting that. And I know what that means. In real life, I know what that means. It's them fighting realism.
Yeah.
This is what his thing will be like next week, this next year. This Tico God drama is going to be full of this nonsense. And here it is, once again, in Doctor Who, a family science fiction show. I was so angry. Andy Radar, thank you so much for your super chat. I thought this was going to be his big moment, but more like drizzle than the oncoming storm. Oncoming storm, Andy. Do you know what I mean? This is what I'm saying. Yeah. Can you have imagined if Matt Smith or Capaldi had delivered that?
Yeah.
And it was slightly tighter. Again, get a script editor. Get the emotion out of it from these far left ideologists. That would have been.
But it's like
Sorry,
It's like
Paul.
the moment in the first episode, the Robot Revolution, when they laugh at the fact that the guy who's the villain in it gets mopped up by the Hoover. You know, it's like, that's awful. You know, it's like,
Again,
and they laugh at his death. It's all, yeah.
It shows such a high level of just plain nastiness, and to a certain demographic, and it's very, very clear that they are extremely far left. But we know from experience, you just have to look around. If you aren't of their ilk, then they do try and shut you down. If you try and debate with them, they will often lash out physically and get violent. They will try and stifle debate, and they will try to be the dictators in the room. They are nasty, nasty, nasty people a lot of the time that you can see. But they're the ones, it's gaslighting, because they do all these things and then accuse the others of doing it, and they then set themselves up as the moral saviors. And that's what he was doing here, you know, describing him as being, or that type of being, exhausting. And the problem is that empowers the slightly mentally challenged people, some of whom I alluded to earlier, who actually go online afterwards and start spouting off, if you voted for Trump or if you're a reform supporter, you are scum of the earth, you know, and tying them to this character that this doctor or this person acting as the doctor says you should or you'll burn to ash, and basically taking pleasure in saying you're going to die at the age of 49. You know, it's not Doctor Who. It's not the Doctor. It was a very, very, very nasty political speech, I thought. I think it was just wrong.
Sorry, I think that's a great point you've just made there about that, and I had forgotten that, and I want to bring that into it. I also want to bring this point in from JFO. Why did Shooty's Doctor get so rattled by Conrad? For all he's seen over his lives, why would he be rattled by that? Now, this is why it doesn't come across. This is why it flops. So the point that Ian's making there, this was a side. Now, this is where they'll all go on, oh, this is where Shooty's Doctor becomes darker, it becomes meaner. No, because it didn't land, because he couldn't play it properly. And with a better actor and a better script, it could have done, because he deliberately, the character, the Doctor, deliberately gets back at Conrad with revenge, which again, like the snogging the fella last year, is not necessarily the Doctor's character. No. He gets back at the fella by telling him, I know when you're going to die, which is not going to happen because his future is then changed at the end of the episode. So that's not going to happen. That's an alternative timeline. But he does it deliberately. To answer your question, JFO, why did he get rattled? It's because apparently somewhere along the line, before he meets Belinda, he's realized that Conrad has upset Ruby. That didn't come off very well either. Any other actor in the role, apart from Whittaker, because I can't comment about her, would have been a little bit more incensed. I was thinking at this point, guys, and I don't know about you, do you remember that scene, that end scene from The Family of Blood?
Oh, yes.
Well, can I just interject with that then? Actually, it came to me from reading comments last night, because there's a lot of stuff going on like Instagram and TikTok that actually the majority of feedback that's been the episode's been terrible, and there's been a few people, rightly so, they're allowed to enjoy it. They've been enjoying it, and they've been making
good for them
reels of clips of Conrad and his speech and the end speech. And one of the comments that I read was, just be glad the 15th Doctor is in his therapy era, because any of them would have crushed him. Think a la Family of Blood.
Well, it's true. That's actually true. But hang on a minute. Again, this whole therapy, that's gone out the door because nobody cares. I mean, that's just ridiculous, isn't it? But no, if one of somebody like Conrad had upset one of the Doctor's companions, because the Doctor lost this argument. Let's face it, I was shocked by that resolution where Conrad turns around and says, "What? Get off my world." Yeah. And the Doctor just has this sign of, clicks his finger, and then the whole thing has disappeared. The Doctor lost the conversation. Conrad won. No. That's not what would have happened. Any other of the Doctors would have had that boy, and he would have been terrified, cringing in his cell, going mad.
In terms of narrative, there's something that Conrad said that got me thinking a little bit when he said, "Have you met Belinda yet?" like he knew something about Belinda that might have been important to the plot. I don't know if you picked up on that and what you thought about that.
I sort of did. I don't know about the others. I did sort of pick up on that, but I don't care. It's sort
I
of.
don't really care either, but I wondered if that's going to lead to something which is really
Yes,
boring
it
anyway.
probably is. It feels like
Yeah.
this whole thing about who was it that was supposed to the Rose thing? She's going to die.
Yeah.
And then something's on your back with Donna. It felt like one of those things, but I'm not that invested with Belinda Chandra. I don't really care what's going to happen to her at the end. We do know she's a one-season companion. I don't care if she lives or dies at the end because I just don't like her. I would actually care if it was Ruby.
Yeah.
I'm
I
probably going to call this now, aren't I? Do you know what I mean?
don't like that little bit of Belinda at the beginning of Lucky Day. I haven't, and I will not watch. I cannot be arsed to watch the first 3 that have come out. She annoyed me, and she's going to annoy me, I know, next week.
Oh, goody! Because we're going to be reviewing it. Yeah, juicy talk coming out on Whose Views. Thanks, Legion of James, for your comment. And the Peter Ventman fan site has been with us saying everything the Doctor is against, he's turned into.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly, and that's just because it wasn't written properly, and it certainly wasn't played correctly. Ian, Joe, do you agree with that, or are you different?
Oh God, I just wasn't. I don't really even remember it very well. I'm going to say I watched the whole episode, and I remember the speech being inside the TARDIS, but that's about it.
Yeah.
I did remember thinking at the time that I didn't appreciate the Doctor being vitriolic. I didn't feel that was a sentiment that the Doctor should enter into, that he's meant to be somebody who sees things from above, from a more sort of objective plane.
Yeah.
And he also is quite indulgent of, in the past, people making mistakes and people going down the wrong way, if you like. And I just really found it hard to reconcile the Doctor last night with the Doctor that sat in Genesis of the Daleks debating whether to get rid of the Daleks.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
It didn't fit for me.
Yeah.
So
another bit to that explanation for me was, did that actually happen, or was that in Conrad's mind?
No, it happened because
I wasn't quite sure about that.
Anita Dobson confirms it's happened. I reckon the way it could have done is that the Doctor has materialized around Conrad.
Yeah.
Because it definitely happened. Or he might have used some sort of new device where he's projecting himself But I think I like to go with that old-fashioned thing of the TARDIS is materialized around, because that room was big enough to get the box in, the police box.
Yeah.
Let's face it.
Yeah.
Listen to us being geeky, everybody.
But he was stood next to his bed in the cell, wasn't he? And the bed wasn't next to him in the TARDIS. So you do wonder, was the TARDIS selective about what it materialised around? Because when he materialised around Rose, he also scooped up a Dalek as well that was stood near, didn't he? So,
or did they just get the positioning wrong?
Maybe. But what I found odd about that was that, right, he's gone to the trouble of materializing around him, but then he just snaps his fingers and it's gone. In which case, why didn't he snap his fingers and get there? And what's all this snapping fingers anyway? Are we back to magic? I know.
Yeah, it didn't land. That whole scene didn't land, and it's a shame because, in a sense, the episode had been building up. Although not properly, again, a good script editor would have seen this. It was building up to the meeting of Conrad with the Doctor after all those years. I possibly would have left that to the finale because it's obvious that Conrad's on his way back because he gets, spoiler alert, if you're interested, he gets freed by the Anita Dobson character, Mrs. Flood.
But the other thing that didn't make sense, I don't know, is watching was the fact that what happened to turn Conrad into that person, that wasn't explored, and therefore it didn't really work for me when it was all revealed. And the other thing I found incredibly tiresome was how everybody pursues everybody on Facebook and everything these days. It's really vitriolic and nasty and ugh. I just don't feel I need to see that enacted in this program either.
No, you don't.
Because I think you don't realise the depths that human beings can plumb to until you read comments on Facebook.
Oh yeah.
Well, true. Yeah. But the thing is, as well, with the Doctor, this is why Doctor Who shouldn't have these elements in it, because that was
Yeah.
purely aimed at all of us, the fans that are leaving the show, the fans that don't like the show, the British public that don't like the show. It was purely aimed at everybody that don't agree with RTD and his cronies. It's as simple as that, and we see through it. We know what you're saying, and we reject it. You know you're not very happy at the moment, but you've got to get on with it because it's called real life. And we live still just in a democracy. Grow up. Just grow. And this is why it shouldn't be in Doctor Who. Good God, I hope that the next version of Doctor Who is Doctor Who and just gives us a science fiction show where he's battling monsters. Good produced. Can you imagine if we all came back together for a series that was, did you see that monster? And did you see him doing that? And oh, look, that villain there is doing this. I wonder what's going to happen in the next episode, rather than having to deal with all this nonsense that we have to deal with in our real lives.
Well, surely they can't get wrong again, you know?
They can't afford to.
Yeah.
They have to get any next iteration of the show 100% correct. Otherwise, it has gone for good. BBC Studios, are you listening? whosviews1@gmail.com. Give us an email. Mudcrab, you need to earn your big speech moment. You can't just turn up. And Smiley people, I've just seen this, and this upsets me. I was always proud of being half Jewish, but now that's seen as bad by the left. Never on this channel. You are welcome here. And no, we will not tolerate that bullshit that you have to endure right now because of these radical left-wing ideologists, because it is them. No, you are very welcome here, and I will stand next to you. I'm not speaking for anybody else on the channel. I will stand next to you. Never, ever. I am never, ever going to allow anybody to do it. So, no, nothing wrong with being Jewish, and that's the end of it. And these people that think you are not welcome on this show. End of story. Right, so, got that off my chest. I was just a bit annoyed by that. Wrestler Daniel, why is the RTD so scared? Right, you need both left and right to balance society. Why are they all now? I get this. So many young people now. You see this all the time. Why are they frightened of the right wing? Why?
They haven't been educated to debate. They haven't been educated to debate or discuss or hear a different opinion.
Or just to have a conversation, actually.
Yeah.
They don't like it.
Those people are scared of people like us, and we're all not like in the right. I'd say we're all probably middle, sprinkling in both ways, that we balance both sides.
Well, I've said it many times, Kirsten, I'm going to be honest with you. I've said it many times. Most of my life, I have been left-wing, right? Verging on liberal, because I am a homosexual, same-sex attracted man fighting for gay rights in a time when there weren't any. The late 80s, through the 90s, even the beginning of this century. I like saying that. Now I find myself politically homeless, for one thing, and also more right, because the world has changed around me and I can't go where the left has gone. I cannot follow them. So I'm actually thinking now I must be middle right, because I know what a woman is. I know what a man is. You know, I know that balance, equilibrium is important. It's very bizarre. And then I've been called ist, ot, phobe for years for being a same-sex man or other stuff, a same-sex attracted man or other stuff. So it's all mixed up, but it's all come from the left, and that's shocked me and disappointed me. I mean, the vitriol comes from there. And meanwhile, the real bad right, they're extremely quiet, aren't they? You don't hear much about them, really, unless you're in deep Europe, I would imagine. Paul Rose, exactly as I commented earlier, JT, I felt like the Doctor's speech was aimed at fans or anyone not liking the series. Plot hole, how did the Doctor know what was happening?
Yeah.
Intervene.
I found the lack of intervention very, very odd in this particular episode. It worked in Blink. They got it right in Blink.
Yes, good point.
But they didn't in this. It just seemed like he didn't care. Really. I mean, he gave the speech, but anyone could turn up and give a bloody speech.
Yeah. It implies that at some point he's met Ruby again before he meets Belinda.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think he completely avoids the issue or the fact that he put Conrad on the road. You know, he gave him that 50p that he has as a medallion still in. And if Conrad had seen the TARDIS and seen it disappear, he must know that alien technology exists. So why does he then dispute the existence of aliens? But the Doctor set him off on that path, I think.
Yeah.
And yet he's completely abdicate. He set him on a path that he is then later rejoicing that he will die at the age of 49 and just be ash. You know, it's just
And
it's
it's
just wrong.
the Doctor rejoicing in anyone's end is that's
Disgusting.
just
not the
yeah.
Doctor.
I really don't. I don't feel comfortable with that at all. That's not the hero I grew up with.
No.
I mean, we all know the Doctor does have his nasty side because we've seen it several times in various incarnations. This one, it just didn't land for me because it wasn't even nasty. This was just pure revenge.
Well,
like we had Lust last year. Now we've got something else which is new, which doesn't suit the Doctor, in my opinion.
But sometimes the Doctor got angry and emotions got the better of him. Yeah, that's where I saw it previously. This one was almost like he was gleeful that the person had done the things they'd done.
Yeah.
That's what didn't hit with me.
It's because it's too much personal. Because I mean, you could see from Gatwa, I could see from Gatwa his personal expression, his personal opinion. That wasn't the Doctor who was playing part of that, was him. As we said in the chat earlier. Marie UK, thank you for your super chat. Gatwa has no gravitas to make any speech.
Yeah,
I agree with that. And Trek Matt is with us saying he's obviously the man that the Doctor refers to in the robot episode who told him about her. I'd forgotten about that. I don't know about you guys.
Oh, right, yeah.
There is a link. Yes. Thank you for that, Trek Matt. 10 out of 10 for paying attention. Well done, you. I wasn't. Or just I just don't care.
Or for remembering even. Yeah.
Yeah, remembering.
Yeah. Yeah. Well done. But that's a great point there. I had forgotten about that. Thank you very much, Marjorie. This is not the Doctor. I think we're all agreed on that. I mean, for me now, he definitely isn't the Doctor. I can't see it at all, I'm afraid, in this performance. But that speech for me, I think it will go down, sadly, in Doctor Who history as something that we have to discuss and never let go because it was bloody disgraceful. And it was.
He's got 4 more chances to prove he was the Doctor. I mean, it's not going to happen, is it?
No.
And did you not see potentially another Doctor light coming up as well? Or he might be missing from some of it. Yeah, it's like, God, what, really? Yeah.
I think it's too late, personally, but we will see. We've still got several more episodes to come. If you're new to the channel, welcome, welcome, welcome. If you're not, you know what's going to come up next because now we've got lots of different bits of entertainment, I hope, for you. We're going to be starting with the Wokeometer. This, for people on Facebook, is just a laugh. Get a grip. We're having a bit of fun. Honestly, I put some posts out today and spread them around, pardon me, Madam around Facebook, Joe. You won't believe the comments that was getting back. Oh, what is woke? How dare you define woke? I said, oh, grow up. So if you're watching us just simply to slag it off, I'll get on with it. It's a laugh. We're just having a laugh. Are you ready? Uncle Sydney? Yes, we'll wind it up because the Wokeometer has been listening to us. It's been reading all your chats and we forced it to watch Lucky Day last night. Out of 10, what will the mark be on the Wokeometer tonight for Lucky Day? Let's have a look. Remember, it's just for fun. Don't write it. Ooh, 25, everybody. It's a 7 out of 10 on the Wokeometer, everybody. What do you think about that?
Is that all? Is the Wokeometer broken?
I was expecting an 8.
I hope for a 9.
Yeah.
Thank you, Uncle Sydney, for that one. Yes, my Uncle Sydney put together the Wokeometer out of Butterbean Whip and Angel Delight. It's over there in a bucket. But thank you for that one. The Wokeometer will be back with us again. But I think that speech alone was worth a 7.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You know, absolutely incredible. You never know where it's going to go next. And just remember, everybody, we've got the well-known homophobe Juno Dawson coming up in a couple of weeks, and God knows what's going to happen next week. Oh my goodness, segregation is alive and well in the British entertainment scene.
Oh
yeah. Okay, now it's that time where we play the ratings game. Oh, this is exciting, this show. Listen, this is part of the show where we now look towards next week's Doctor Who episode, which is called The Story and the Engine. And this is where we ask you what you think. Will it get over 1 million, basically? What you think the rating will be next week? We overnight rating. We don't do the iPlayers. We don't do anything like that. We want to know how many bums on seats will tune in next week for Doctor Who. I'm going to start with Jodie.
I'm going to go for 1.45 because I think a lot that are now tuning in are pretty dedicated.
Or crazy.
How polite is Jodie? Jodie is going for lower and 1.45. Paul, what are you going to go for?
I'm hoping it's going to be lower than that. I'm going to go for 1.3, but I never get this right, so what the hell?
No.
Yeah.
Paul, of course, over the last year has proved that he's useless at guessing the rating. Desperately wants a pencil. I've got them over there.
Yeah.
Box, yes. But he's going for lower and 1.3. Married lady of the chat, Kirsty.
1.4.
This is sad days, isn't it? Sad day. One day we might do the show and we're all talking about 7 million again.
Oh, I could believe it'd be 8, but just not million.
Yeah. Just 8 people. Yeah.
It might yet happen the way it's going. Look, Dr. Ian.
I'm going to go between these two and say 1.36.
Wow.
Definitely lower.
Ian is going for lower at 1.36. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I am going there for the first time. But I'm going to be saying 1.2. 1.2. Lots of you in the chat. Lots of you with your overnights. I'm going to be looking at them in the week. I will get to them, but I am going to be looking at some of them now. Jamie Tipton is saying 1.4. Julianne is saying 1.4. Raymond is saying I went for 1.47 last week. Almost correct last week, 1.47. So I will stick with 1.47. That's 1.47 from Raymond. Third Dr. Andrew is saying, did I mention I work for the BBC? Wink. Never mind. Don't worry. The next government gets in and it looks like who we think it is, you might need to find another job. Derek Hart, 1.47, Mudcrab 1.3, and Mark Greaves saying 1.1. Sheila B in the Devotions 1.1. Wow. What a lame title for a story, by the way, says G35 with 1.38. Stephen Brad at 1.3. And Whoopi Doodle Doo with Scott Andrew Brass saying 2. Not to Paul Rose is saying 1.4. And Dalek Lives Matter 1.45. It's sad. It's sad.
It is. It really
Robert
is.
Payne is saying to us, if it's not lower than 1.5 after this week, I'd be very surprised. Daz Blue is saying to us 1.25. Captain, my captain, good to see you. 1.33. Jason's going for it. 0.9. I'm being kind.
It will do it. It will do it, I'm sure.
David Shaw is saying 1.5 million, so he's staying with it this week. If it stays at that this week, it says a lot. It says stability. It says it's found its audience, unless it goes down for Eurovision. Don't forget, Doctor Who might not actually be on if the week after, if the footy ball goes to something called extra time or penalty. Harry Lee is saying 1.15. Paul Rose, you might think that, but I'm not commenting. You have to wait for my book and you'll have to buy it. And Frankie is saying 1.27. Digby is saying 1.38. And Daniel loves the relaxing music.
Me too.
I've been in a spa. But Julianne is coming back saying, is BGT Live final next week? Apparently it is, so it might be as low as 1. And Frankie is saying more people watch QVC than Doctor Who. This is true.
Oh,
And they get more value for its money right now, I would imagine.
oh God.
But that, yeah, I've heard that, and it's true. QVC do very well. Why they never took me on, though, is another matter. Thank you very much for that. That was your ratings game. Oh, that was your ratings game. We'll find out who won that next week. And now, from one thing to another, it's time for you now, Who Views, to start in the chat with your scores on the TARDIS doors. Oh, there's so much going on in this show these days. Oh, we're back. Right. Hello, everybody. Right, here we go then. Yes, so let's see where we're up to with scores on the TARDIS doors. Kirst, could I ask you to keep an eye on this for me, please? Because I think we're going to get an awful lot of... I think we're starting with Austin there, aren't we, at 1.0? But we're going to come to that in a second, because I want to remind you of where we are at with scores on the TARDIS doors. The Robot Revolution got 12.5 out of 50. Lux got 9.5 out of 40. And The Well got 27 out of 50. So The Well doing better so far.
Oh, well.
The Well is doing well. I was trying not to say that.
I know it's that, yeah.
Here we go then. So that's great. Okay, so this time around, start with third Doctor. Ian, your score on the TARDIS door out of 10, please, for Lucky Day.
Once again, like the Robot Revolution, it was very clear that people of my gender, skin color, nationality, and just about everything I hated. 1 for Millie Gibson and Sweet FA for the rest. So 1.
So Dr. Ian going for 1 out of 10. Thank you. Jodie, what are you going to give this for the score on the TARDIS door?
I'm going to give it 5 because it wasn't dreadful.
Okay.
That's not saying a great deal, but I'm trying to be kind.
You are being kind. Yeah, that's fine. You lovely, kind person, you.
I know.
Mrs. Wifey of the chat, what are you going to give it as a 10?
4, and that's purely and utterly for Miss Millie Gibson.
Yeah.
She is popular. She is a popular girl. They made a big mistake not keeping her on for season 2. They really did. Okay, so that's... did you say 4 there? That's great. Paul, what are you going to give this one?
There were bits of it I liked. I liked the monster. I liked the way some of it was shot, and I liked the villain in it. He was really good, but it still wasn't that brilliant. So a 3.
A 3? Wow. Okay. Emilio did text in his score on the TARDIS door. Good old Emilio there. He also sent me this lovely picture of a sheep chewing grass, which is really good. He says here, 1 point for the slick production and 1 point for Millie Gibson's performance. The rest is infuriating, forgettable trash. So that's a 2 from Emilio. Thank you, mate. Thank you very much. We will get Miles' score. I think he might put that in the chat. I will try and keep up with you in the chat in a minute. For myself, I'm done. I have to be honest. I don't see this as Doctor Who. He is not the Doctor. I think the scripts are lame. I'm trying to recap everything I've said. I'm only on episode 4 and I am exhausted. I'm absolutely over this thing. It's awful, awful, awful television. It's getting purely for Millie Gibson a 1. There we go. Sorry, don't like it at all. I'm going to be coming.
Sorry, JT. Wasn't there a bit of a totally unsubtle sexual reference at the beginning as well when he was asking her out?
Sexuality.
Yeah.
No, when he was asking her out for a drink at the cafe or something, was there something like, do you fancy one or something like that? And she was, oh,
I'll give you one sort of thing.
Yeah. And it was just like, is that necessary at all?
Yeah.
Why put that in? It was
very 90s, actually.
Yeah.
Do you remember there was that other thing about Ruby implying that the Doctor was homosexual?
Yeah.
It's alien, everybody. That wound me up as well.
Yeah.
He flirted with you, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like that. And I noticed we just didn't talk about it. Keep your scores on the TARDIS stars in the chat coming. I'll look at them in a minute, but I want you to all look at this particular story as well. This one has come from Screenrant.com. Doctor Who Season 15, Episode 4 review. I'm disappointed Ruby Sunday's return was in a lackluster episode that made little sense. It carries on with Doctor Who's Lucky Day has an incredible start to the episode, only to devolve into a lackluster entry to the long-standing legacy series. I'm all for politics in shows, and I think it's always been a part of the DNA of Doctor Who. When it hijacks the story entirely, the show suffers. Doctor Who has always pushed boundaries, and it's a better show because of that. But it's also been smart about the way it includes these themes, which were displayed earlier in this season. However, despite setting up an intriguing Doctor Light episode, which revisits Ruby Sunday a year after her time on the TARDIS, the episode discards this idea in favour of creating a villain who makes no sense and has strong relations to groups that exist in real life. While these groups are certainly toxic and do not deserve praise, they don't belong in a sci-fi fantasy show that provides fun and escapism for the audience. Ruby Sunday's ending in season 14 was a frustrating twist, but overall, Gibson's character was a wonderful addition to the show, and she had strong chemistry with Gatwa's Doctor. So when the episode that sees her return presents no reunions between the two characters, it's already a little disappointing. However, Ruby has led strong Doctor Light episodes before, as seen in 73 Yards, but this episode feels like something completely different. Romance with Conrad is a wonderful addition to the show, and the first half of the episode beautifully capitalizes on it. However, when Conrad reveals his true colours, the episode takes a decidedly political turn, establishing Conrad as the leader of a group of angry, repressed people who believe in conspiracies over reality and actively cause harm and endangerment to the people around them. In all honesty, this isn't actually my problem with the episode. It's the way it overhauls the story and makes no narrative sense. Conrad is a hyper-radicalized public figure who has earned massive wealth from his political ideologies, though Unit has no awareness of who he was, and by extension, Ruby was lured into his pretend podcast where he rationally and calmly discusses the Doctor and aliens. The idea that Conrad could fool everyone, after also attempting to get a job at Unit, is laughable. And to that, the fact that he's had numerous first-hand witnesses of the Doctor, the TARDIS, and aliens, and it's downright absurd. Doctor Who is the perfect vehicle for exploring ideas that may be controversial, especially when those ideas are applied cleverly and consistently. Just 2 episodes before, this was handled beautifully in Lux, when the show highlighted issues of racial discrimination in the 1950s. Likewise, earlier episodes address other issues such as the transgender rights, women's rights, and challenging chapters in history, even if it doesn't always strike the right balance. Embracing these issues, raising awareness, and showcasing positive response can be a powerful way for Doctor Who to connect with audiences. Unfortunately, Lucky Day poorly handles its message and is heavy-handed in its approach to making a point about individuals who reject realities. It moves too far in the other direction by having characters like Kate Lethbridge-Stewart fall from grace and set a ravenous alien monster on Conrad after he insults her father, all while live streams the brutal attack. No one was right in this episode, but a lot of people were hurt. Ruby deserved better than to be used as a prop here, and Kate has been transformed into something more grotesque and disappointing, similar to Harriet Jones after she blew up the retreating Sycorax ship. It's frustrating to see this episode walk back on some of the tremendous success and growth that came about in this season, but I believe the rest of the season can rectify this episode's issues. What are your thoughts on that, everyone?
It's not wrong.
No, it's not. No.
Mm-hmm. I thought it was balanced.
I don't think there's anything coming in this season that'll save it, though.
No, I don't either. And that's sad, isn't it? That's really sad.
Yeah, completely.
That we're at this point now. 4 episodes to go, 3 if you may.
But they certainly can't. They can't do subtle politics at all. I mean, that's the problem, isn't it?
Well, they're not even doing balance. If you're going to, I mean, Doctor Who was in the show. I dispute the fact it was political. It wasn't. And if it was a science fiction edge. But it wasn't banging on about it every single week.
No, it wasn't.
Monsters, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Sad days. Have a think about that one, everyone in the chat. Stephen Braddock, thank you so much for saying 10 out of 10 for Who's Views having to watch this dreck. Thank you. Well, it's good to know you're all there, quite frankly, and thank you for joining us. It's been a great audience again. Robert Payne saying to us, bad taste for RTD showing a live streamed act of violence considering what happened in 2023. They don't care.
No.
They don't care. But also, it was, again, the hypocrisy of this, as that sort of article there sort of put on, as I said there, the judgment from these people about people that won't think like them. Absolutely shocking.
Yeah.
Woodhouse 122 is saying, sad to say, but Doctor Who is a dead series and nothing in the next 4 episodes will change that.
No.
And Jess is saying to us, I think the end episodes are going to be representative of the rubbish we have seen so far. Therein lies the answer, and it ain't going to be good. Bill Lowry saying Doctor Who has always had the political edge. It just hasn't been this consistently badly written.
Yeah, but they told things as allegories. They don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
When they're told as allegories, they can be really clever. And they also aren't having a direct dig at people the way they are now. They leave it for people to make up their mind what the allegory is about. Yeah. They're not doing that now. They're hitting you over the head with a sledgehammer.
Yeah, and it hurts.
They never took sides, did they? I mean, you're looking. If you look at say the Green Death, you know, and that was a fantastic story about ecology and anti-pollution, and there is nothing wrong with being against pollution. Who wants to pump crap into the air or to the ground or anything like that? It's stupid, isn't it? But it was about championing about alternative foods, alternative fuels. But then you've got the flip side of the Brigadier saying, but we need lots more petrol, plenty cheap petrol, cheap, lots of it. And it gave you the opportunity of making your mind up. You know, you had to balance so many things. It was never black and white, and life isn't black and white, is it? But now it's, this is right, this is wrong, and if you're not on this side, we don't like you.
But what they purport is they are supposed to be against indoctrination, but that is exactly what they are trying to achieve.
Yes.
It's really wrong.
Yeah.
I would not dream of trying to indoctrinate my own children or try to remove their ability to think for themselves and make their own decisions about things. I give them my opinion. If they disagree with it, that's fine.
Yeah.
Lots of you in the chat here as well saying things. So you've got here Legion of James. The projection from these people is off the charts, creating a villain who actually represents all the things that they themselves are doing. Exactly that. I totally believe that one. Paddy NIs with us. Subtle messages are a thing of the past, obviously. And problem being saying to us, I've never seen a show so actively attacking its fans as horrifically as Doctor Who. It's miserable. The only entertainment here is for the insane cheerleaders filled with hatred in their hearts. It's Doctor Who. Oh my goodness! I cannot believe that we are where we are. It's such a sad time. It really is for Doctor Who, and it's no wonder that it's down in the ratings. It's alienated millions of fans. It's alienated the great British public.
It's meant to be fun.
Well, these are the dying days. Let's face it. We're calling it on this show. These are the dying days. Let's see what's going to happen. Stay with us here on Who's Views. Make sure you've subscribed. If you have already subscribed, please make sure you are still subscribed, because there's a lot of news coming our way over the next few months, I can assure you. And we're going to be here to talk about it. Where are we off to next, everybody? God knows. The next story in this version of Doctor Who is the story and the engine. That'll be screened, of course, next week on the iPlayer from 8 o'clock in the morning, around about 7 o'clock-ish. I can't remember the time because I'm not bothered, on BBC One. But we will be here on Sunday, the 11th of May, live at 8 o'clock with our review. Thank you so much. Please come and join us for that one. I'm already judging it, I have to be honest.
To use a very Scottish word, this looks pish. That's all I'm saying.
I have been against this whole thing about segregating theatre for years now, since 2020, when this whole madness started. 2020 in history, by the way, has a lot to answer for, because that's when the world went crazy.
Yeah.
Really has. And I can't stand it. And now we've got television shows that are doing it, and they think it's right, because we're going to talk about it next week. Come back and join us next week. I'm going to carry on. Otherwise, I'll be here all night talking about it. So, to Paul, to Third Doctor Ian, to Kirsty, to Jodie, thank you so much for being here tonight for that. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope
very much. Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Great fun.
Thank you to everybody in the chat that has joined us. What a night. It's great to get your views. Thank you so much. We really do appreciate it. We will be seeing you again. If you are interested, if you are a Blake 7 fan, we will be here tomorrow night on this channel, 8 o'clock live, with our review of Series 1, Episode 5, The Web. Wow. And don't forget, she's on the way. The next episode. She'll be here very soon. Serverland's coming. I can hear it now. Join us tomorrow. We'll also be back in the week with headlines. Stay with us for those. We'll be getting, hopefully, Bedweir's ratings analysis. Bedweir, I hope you're feeling better. Hope we'll see you soon. But in the meantime, from all of us, from the panel, thank you so much again for being with us. We're going to be seeing you very soon. Have a good day. Good night. See you in the week. Ta-ra, everyone.
Okay, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.